Lawyers. Now, Hangin with Hester and Hannity with Jacob Hester and Charles Hannagriff. Hester and Hannity on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger. Alongside Jacob Hester, here's Charles Hannagriff.
Yo, and welcome in. Hanging with Hester and Haney, although it's Hanging with Hester and Hunt.
Correct.
Today, we've got a full room. Kay back on the ones and twos. Of course, Playboy Marty doing what he does, which none of us really know what that is. Also, Danny filling in for the vacationing Paul O'Neill. Hunt Palmer, how are you today?
I'm good. I'm very good for a lot of reasons, but I'm a little off here. We've been doing the show for like 3 years or something, and you always sit on one side and I'm on the other side, and now you're all of a sudden on the wrong side.
Well, so I've gotten used to sitting on this side because Haney sits over there and I sit over here.
This show's been on for like 10 minutes. You did this for 3 years.
You're right, but I'm getting used to it because the first 2 weeks that we did it, I was really awkward over here. So I'm just trying to stay in my lane, stay over here, and because now I know which way to turn.
All right, look, I'll make the adjustment. I'll be fine.
I mean, adjust. It's fine. I didn't know the chair. Does that chair mean something?
No, not a thing.
Okay. I was just wondering. We've got a big show planned today. Todd Walker will join us at 12:15. Going to get his thoughts on how he thinks the Major League Baseball situation has gone to
It's
this
gone
point.
perfectly. Perfectly.
Brandon Taylor at 1:15, of course, former LSU defensive back and San Diego Charger. And Richard Dixon at 2:15.
A lot of 18s.
I didn't even think about that.
Mm-hmm.
That's a great point. And Brandon's your partner as well.
That's correct.
Pre- and post-game radio. So excited to catch up with B. Taylor. But we start the show because we actually have a preseason poll that we can kind of complain about. We can dice up. We can have all of our thoughts. That means that football is somewhat getting closer. It's becoming more of a reality. And surprise, surprise, Clemson's number one.
As they should be. I mean, they're not going to lose a game in that trash league they play in, so just put them at the top, and we'll see you in January. That's what Clemson football is now.
All right, so, of course, when we start talking preseason polls, we're going to talk about where did the SEC teams fall. That's what we care about. Bama comes in at number 3, UGA at number 4, LSU at 5, Florida at 8, Auburn at 11, Texas A&M at 13, and Tennessee basically 26. They received the most votes that weren't in the top 25 here in the USA Today coaches poll. But LSU in a good spot. This is about where they started a year ago. No surprise that Alabama's up towards the top. Georgia, we all know Georgia and Florida, depending on who you talk to, the favorites in the SEC East. So I'll ask you this. Did anything jump off the page when you saw these top 25s released?
No, I think because we know that these polls don't matter, but they are talking points. And so the thing that I take from it is this. LSU now has joined the elite ranks of college football. Now it's LSU's job this year to sustain that and continue to make noise. Clemson's already done it. They're number 1. Ohio State wins the Big Ten every year. They're always in the playoff. They're number 2. We know about Alabama and what they've done over the last decade. They're number 3. Georgia has made enough noise to where they are relevant. They're winning the East every year. They've been in the playoff. They played for a national championship. They're number 4. And LSU's right there in front of Oklahoma, who makes a playoff every year. That's college football royalty at this point. And LSU has established themselves there. But you've got to continue to produce, and you've got to continue to show that you deserve to be there, and LSU gets that shot this coming year to prove that it's not just Joe Burrow and Joe Brady, it's the program being healthy.
Let me ask you this. In the top 10, which team do you think has the most pressure? Because for me, it's Georgia. I think Georgia has been close before. We know they lost in a national championship in overtime, but they have not yet won that championship. They haven't won one since the early 80s, and they've been ranked in the top 5, right, since Kirby Smart's taken over. And we know Mark Richt had nice seasons, but it's championships or bust right now in Athens, and they sit there in the top 4. And if they don't finish with a trophy, with some sort of trophy this year, I think the pressure goes up. And I know that's crazy to say when Kirby gets to Atlanta every year, but as you know, Hunt, it's all about winning titles, and that's why their recruiting budget is bigger than anybody else's in the country in Athens.
For me, the hungriest fan bases they just want to move up a notch or two from where they are right now, and they're all in different places, but they want to move up a notch or two. Georgia, Michigan, Tennessee, Texas A&M kind of fall in there for me. And clearly Georgia is better than all those programs, but they want to move up one notch and get there and win a national championship. They've got as good a roster as anybody in college football. And so, yeah, I think that I would agree with you that if I look at the top 10, the team that is thirsting the most is probably Georgia.
Any surprise that Auburn comes in at number 11?
I saw that. It did surprise me.
With as much as they lost on defense, you lose Boobie Whitlow. He transfers. Now, Bo Nix, you're assuming he's going to take a step up and be a better quarterback, but that's a lot of assuming.
He's talented, but he wasn't very good last year. I mean, he's a freshman, so what do you expect him to be? I don't know, but he was inaccurate. His decision-making at times wasn't awesome. He can run a little bit. He's got a good arm, and Gus has got motion running all over the yard, and it's fun to watch at times. But he didn't do a ton for me last year. I would need him to seriously progress to help. The offense is going to have to help out that defense as they retool, and they play a brutal schedule. I mean, they've got to play Alabama, and they've got to play Georgia, and they got to play LSU, and they got to play A&M. Yeah, I mean, so it's that. I don't see them as a top 11 team in the country.
I've got questions right now when you look at the Auburn Tigers offensively, and obviously the quarterback position is going to be the one that's looked at the hardest, but I want to know who's going to run the football. I also want to know about their offensive line situation because it wasn't great a year ago, and I don't think it's going to be any better this year. As we continue to talk about some of the top teams in the USA Today coaches poll, Wisconsin, as we mentioned yesterday when the Big Ten schedule was released, you add games and you still miss Penn State and Ohio State if you're Wisconsin. Now you play Michigan, but it's a big game, so who knows what that means, right? So Wisconsin right now, they're set up for success, which, look, Wisconsin's kind of that steady Eddie, right? We always joke about it. They're that team that's about right there every single year, but they do avoid two of the heavyweights, probably two of the biggest heavyweights in the Big Ten, and they sit at a pretty good position right now, sitting there at 12.
Wisconsin is who they are. I mean, they're going to beat the lowlifes of the Big Ten. They'll challenge in the regular season a time or two. They'll lose a couple of games, and if they get to the big stage and show up in the Big Ten championship, they'll just get their doors beat off. I mean, that's just who Wisconsin is.
Inside the Bayou Ford huddle, Hester, what do you mean recruiting budget? Are you implying Clemson pays its recruits? No, I was actually talking about Georgia, and when you look at the money spent for recruiting, so bringing guys in, doing whatever you can do legally, Georgia spends the most money on recruiting each and every year. So recruiting staff and the graphic designers for recruiting. I mean, there's something that goes into the budget for recruiting. I mean, you have player personnel people, and all that goes towards your budget, and you classify that as recruiting.
Travel, staff, all that kind of stuff goes into the budget. And Ross Dellinger wrote a piece saying who spends X on recruiting, and the SEC and the Big Ten outspend everyone, and Georgia just happens to be on top of the list.
Yeah, so recruiting's obviously changed in the last 15 to 20 years because I remember when I was getting recruited, I mean, it was all letters. There was no text messages. Now, you would get some calls on your answering machine at home, and if you walked in the door, if you walked in, the red light was beeping, and you could
transcribe it for you like it does on the cell phone now when you get an email, a voicemail, it just transcribes, you can read it.
Boy, if you think the Hesters had enough money for an answering machine like that, you are crazy. No, we did not. We were lucky we had caller ID, and I thought that was cool. Like if I saw a call from an area code and it started to say where it was from, I would get giddy and if it was going to be a scholarship offer. But it's funny, I actually broke out my letters. My wife and kids were at her mom and dad's house, and I was by myself a couple of weeks ago, and I'm doing some cleaning up, and I see my letters. And I start to pull them out because there was half of them were, they weren't open because once I got the LSU offer, it's like, okay, I'm going to LSU. And I actually found my original offer from Nick Saban. It was on a piece of paper. It wasn't like anything special. There wasn't a bunch of graphics. It was just a note from Nick Saban, and it talked about talking on the phone that day, and he appreciated the time, and it was that's
I'm sure he did.
Here's the full
Liar.
Yeah, you're probably right, but. And it mentioned, here's your full scholarship offer, whatever. I actually got excited, though, because I found a letter from Penn, University of Pennsylvania, the Quakers. And I had a scholarship offer from Penn and never knew it.
Did that get
chill out
redirected in the mail?
No,
what happened there?
Explain yourself. What do you mean?
You can't get into Penn.
How can I not get into Penn? I was 17th in my class, sir.
You had 17 Ivy League qualified people at Evangel?
We had one that went to MIT.
Wow.
Scored perfect on the ACT, on the math portion.
Was that you?
It was not me.
I didn't think so.
But I had an offer from Penn, Hunt. Can you say the same?
No, I cannot.
Exactly.
I wasn't quite Ivy material. I wasn't quite SEC material either.
All right, we'll take our first break of the show. When we come back, we're going to catch up with Todd Walker. I'm very interested in T-Dub's thoughts on how everything's gone. With a couple of teams, Hunt, that have been shut down, we've seen the Marlins have to get on a bus and go basically thousands of miles to go down to Florida to get back to their facility. Dude, they've played like 3 games.
They're leading your division.
Like 3 games. Okay? So I'm very interested to get Todd's thoughts on how he thinks everything's gone so far. You said fantastic.
Yeah, we're 10-2. What? I mean, you can't do any better than that.
I didn't say how the Cubs are doing.
That's all that matters.
No, that is extremely false. All right, when we come back, Todd Walker of the SEC Network and ESPN joins us here on Hangin' with Hester and Hanny without Hanny.
Hangin' with Hester and Hanny. We opened up the playbook and expanded our coverage. Listen daily in high definition on 98.1 HD2. We are 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Gulf Coast Bank & Trust is a local bank with a...
It would do more than all.
It would carry my entire business.
I'd make it available in dozens. Make that thousands of configurations.
It would keep an eye on my fleet.
And an eye out for danger.
If I build a van, I'd make it available in diesel and gas. And I'd build it right here in South Carolina.
Introducing the all-new Sprinter, starting at $33,790. Built in the USA. Mercedes-Benz. Vans. Born to run.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Auctioner.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
Here at Corval Toyota, we don't just sell cars, we buy them too. Bring your car in so we can see it, and within minutes, you can turn your car into cash or trade it in towards your next vehicle. It's a fast and easy process. We buy your car at Corval Toyota in Opelousas, Happy Town, USA.
.104.5 ESPN invites you to take a short quiz for a chance to win a brand new EU1000 generator from our friends at Bozeman Distributors. Simply go to 1045ESPN.com now through August 16th and take the quiz to see how prepared you are for hurricane season. Everyone who takes the quiz is automatically entered to win the generator. Our winner will be chosen on Monday, August 17th. Get prepared for her.
On the next edition of Game Time, we got all kinds of action as Jimmy Ott and Ben Mintz talk some PGA, MLB, NBA, and more. We'll be at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar from 6 to 8 p.m. on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hangin' with Hester and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger.
All right, welcome back in, Hanging with Hester and Hanny. Although Hunt sitting in for Hanny. Hanny will be back on Monday. Of course, you can watch us on CST. Listen to us here on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge, 11:30 a.m. The Tiger up in the Port City, where our next guest is right now. Of course, we're talking about Todd Walker, former LSU legend, longtime big leaguer. T-Dub, what's up, brother?
Hey, Jake, what's going on?
I want to ask you pretty much just right off the top, Todd, how do you think everything in Major League Baseball has gone to this point?
Well, Rob Manfred's convinced that it's going well outside of the Cardinals and the Marlins, which he blames on lack of protocol. It's going well. They've got through 12 games. Look, this is uncharted territory. You're asking people and, of course, these players to do some unusual things, as is everybody in the country, right? So to stick by the protocol has been very difficult. But if you ask Rob Manfred, he'll say, based on the health stipulations that they put in, if you follow the guidelines to the T, then they won't have any problems. But they're blaming the Cardinals and the Marlins situations for lack of protocol.
Todd, when you look at the Marlins situation, and they've only played 6 games, and everybody else, for the most part, has played 11 or 12 games, and the Marlins players had to take a bus from Pennsylvania all the way down to Miami because that's the only way they could travel. How difficult do you think the situation for the Marlins players and staff right now has just truly been on not only their bodies but mentally as well?
Well, look, let's keep in mind they didn't take a yellow Greyhound. They took a Dolly Parton plush, Xboxes in the back, Jetstream. So they were okay. I don't feel sorry for them. But they're going to have to play some 7-inning doubleheaders toward the end to make up the games. Of course, the schedule calls for 60 games. The rosters have been dropped from 30 players to 28. So they're starting to get a little thin on the rosters. So they need all the healthy guys they can get. But, when these teams start losing games, they're going to have to make it up at the end. And if it piles up on them, it's going to be difficult.
Todd Walker joining us here on Hanging with Hester and Hanny. Todd, the 2 rule changes that are the most significant here are the full-time DH in both leagues and then putting a runner on second base to start extra innings. What do you think about both of those and whether either one will stay or both will stay forever?
I haven't seen enough baseball games with the guy at second and extra innings to know if I like it as a fan. As a player, I would have loved it. Nobody wants to stand out there for 18 innings and try to win a game. And if I'm being really honest, you play 162 of them. So you get in the extra innings, you got to stand out there. Eventually, they're like, let's just get it over with. I don't care who wins. So the idea to put the guy at second in the extra innings is great. To bring the pitcher in and have to face 3 hitters minimum is great. Because I hated the matchup deal where you bring the lefty in to face the lefty for one hitter, and then you pull him back out, and you waste another 5 minutes getting another guy out there. So I love that rule. That if you bring a guy out of the bullpen, he's got to face a minimum of 3. So all the rule changes they've made, I thought the pitcher having to hit was a little ridiculous. Now, as a manager, it's fun to navigate through all that and kind of there's more coaching going on, more managing going on with a pitcher that's having to hit because you got to decide if you want to keep him in the game for the next inning if he's coming up to the plate, or do you pinch hit for him, that kind of thing. Double switches, I like all that, but. The hitter was pitcher hitting was just kind of ridiculous, I think. And so having a DH in both leagues, I think, is good too.
Speaking of DHs, there's a guy that does a little bit of it out in Anaheim, Albert Pujols. You shared a baseball field with him many, many times. His next home run is going to be his 660th to tie Willie Mays. Where does he rank in terms of guys you played against and really in the history of baseball?
Well, you just said it yourself. I mean, if you start putting him in a conversation with Willie Mays, that's pretty special. He's great. I think Albert Pujols, I think about a short, quick swing and keeping his eyes still. He did the 2 most fundamental things you can do as a hitter. And then you add in educated guessing. He's so smart on what pitch is coming and being able to convince himself of that pitch and being able to make solid contact on a consistent basis. And on top of all that, he's pretty strong. So it's just it's incredible what he's accomplished. And the longevity. This stuff gets old. I don't care how much money you're making. You've made enough money and you've been in the league a long time. Eventually, the travel, like you just mentioned, and extreme examples of having to take buses and certain things like that, albeit very foolish, it gets old. You want to be with your family. You want to live a normal life. Go home and do your thing. And so to be in the league for 20 years, that's crazy. I mean, I was in it for 12, and by the time I was done, I was done. But 20 years is crazy.
Todd Walker, LSU legend, now part of the SEC Network, joins us here on Hester and Hangin. What have you thought about the play so far? Do you think it's been quality? Because I'm kind of surprised with how quickly some of these hitters have caught on. I thought they would really struggle out of the gates, kind of like we see in spring training.
Well, one of the things, although the weather's pretty nice in spring training, when you first get there, you're right. The pitchers are ahead of the hitters. In fact, they make the hitters face your own pitchers before you start playing games, and I always hated that because there's no motivation there. And so I just used it as a time to see pitches. I never really swung the bat. But you're right. And then when you get in April and May, it's cold in most places and it's tough to hit. In addition to the timing of everything. So we've skipped that part. They started the season when it's warm everywhere, and so the hitters are a little more advanced. And like I said, some years I came out of the gates, sprinting, and other years I came out and it took me a while. So there's no real definitive on hitters. You got 4 guys, by the way, hitting over 400 right now. I still think with only a 60-game schedule, somebody's going to end over the 400 mark. Michael Brantley got 2 of the 4 playing for the Houston Astros. Michael Brantley's hitting 438. He hit 311 last year, so he's got a real shot. He can hit. I think that's the thing to watch this year is who will hit, I almost say tie Ted Williams, but there's no tie. There's a difference in games. But in 60 games, somebody might hit 400 this year.
You're talking about the Houston Astros. Jose Altuve has actually struggled out of the gate. He's batting $146 right now, and obviously we all know the situation. We all know the trash can situation right now, and it looks like he is really pressing, and he's probably pretty lucky, Todd, that fans aren't allowed in the stadium because it would be even worse right now.
Yeah, the Houston Astros caught a break. But, again, back when I looked at the averages, I was surprised that out of the 400 hitters, 2 of them are from the Astros, and they're not cheating this year. So you got Correa in there with Brantley that are doing really well. Look, with the average thing, Altuve is a 300 hitter. So you're going to end up around that way if you get the same amount of at-bats and the same opportunity, meaning you're playing every day. He's going to end up at 280 to 320. There's like a 40-point spread, I think, when guys are capable of hitting a certain average, whatever that may be. You're going to land there. That's why they call it an average. You're going to end up. So Altuve is struggling a little bit. He's gonna catch fire and he's gonna do fine.
It's just 9 games, which is a small sample size here. But Jacoby Jones up there in Detroit, former LSU Tiger, is hitting 380. He's got 3 home runs. He's playing really good defense in center field. That's obviously a guy that had a ton of tools at LSU, but didn't always produce like those tools would indicate he might. You think he's kind of got it figured out now in his 4th year in the league?
Well, look at Alex Bregman. I mean, he was okay offensively. He's great defensively at shortstop for LSU. He was okay offensively. He could steal some bags. And now all of a sudden the dude hits 40 home runs in the big leagues. So it's hard to put a finger on what happened between being a really, really good player in college and being a great major league player. Some people call these baseballs Titleist now because they're just flying out of the park. So maybe that has something to do with it. But overall, I think if you're not focused at college, you're really straight focused on baseball when you get to the pro level because now that's your entire life. In college, you're still doing school. You still might have a girlfriend, that type of thing. In pro ball, you start really locking down and focusing, and some do it better than the others, and that's kind of what I attribute to Bregman doing his thing. LeMahieu is killing it out for the Yankees this year. So there's a lot of LSU guys that are doing really well in the big leagues, and and that's what's fun to watch.
All right, Todd, before we let you go, I want to ask you, after you've seen, 10, 11, 12 games, do you still have the same feeling about some of your top teams? Because Hunt wants you to say something nice about the Cubs. I can just feel it.
Cubs have 9 wins. They're hanging in there. But if you remember, I don't know if I told you or on another show, but I told you the Twins would be right there. They've won 10. They have the easiest schedule based on last year's results this year, and they're 10-2, so the Twins are right there. The Yankees are going to be there right at the end. They got 9 wins. But, yeah, I mean, I'm pulling for the Cubs. I played for them for 3 years. So, I mean,
Here we go.
They do well. I hope they do well, man. Who's your team, Jake?
Atlanta.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. Our ace just went down. Our all-star second baseman just went on the IL. Our best DH option just went on the IL. All things are great. Sunshine all over the place, Todd. So.
Hey, there's always 2021.
Hey, yeah, they can't get here fast enough. All right, he is Todd Walker. T-Dub, always appreciate the time.
All right, man. Take care, guys.
All right, we'll take a break here while Hunt just –
Todd shorted us a win there. We have 10 wins, but he played for the Cubs. I watched him take Chris Carpenter out of the yard for leadoff homer up at Wrigley one time, so I'll let him slide.
I'm surprised you let him slide because I felt like you were about to interrupt him.
Well, 10 wins, everybody. Just let the record show.
All right, this is Hangin with Hester and Hangin here on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. We'll be back.
Hangin with Hester and Hangin.
All right, as you know, we're brought to you by Gotros Outdoor Power. 2 locations locally, Airline and Industriaplex in Baton Rouge, Airline and 74 in Gonzales. Now, if you're at home or if you're in your office right now, you want to check out Gotros, you can go to their website, gotrosoutdoorpower.com. Really set up for success. You can check out the new equipment. You can check out all the skags that we tell you about every single day. You can check out financing options. You can also check out any sales, promotions, or anything they got going on over there at Gotros as well. Like right now, when you buy a Skag, Patriot Z, Tiger Cat, Cheetah, or Turf Tiger at Gotros Outdoor Power, you'll get your choice of an Echo trimmer or blower absolutely free. Plus, still offering 0% interest for 60 months financing on all Skag ZTRs. If COVID has you worried about leaving the house and shopping, Gotros can do 100% of the sale over the phone, including the financing, and Gotros offers free delivery to your home on all equipment sales. That's GotrosOutdoorPower.com. Gotros, we make it easy.
Off the Bench, Hanging with Hester and Hangin. After further review and more are all live daily on the 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge YouTube page. Subscribe now to interact with us inside the live chat. Find highlights for each show's channel and get notified whenever we go live.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is a local bank with a straightforward philosophy.
It's about doing the right thing for our customers.
Participating in our community with annual local fundraisers. Offering individual attention in a modern banking atmosphere with a trusted local company. Gulf Coast Bank invested in technology with a local touch, giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime.
We're building relationships through personal service as a bank that cares about you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
Coming up on Fridays Off the Bench, we get you ready for the weekend, recapping Pelicans Kings, and looking forward to the Birds versus the Wizards. Hunt Palmer and Cole Kublik stop by to talk about the new shape of college football and who it affects the most. Off the Bench, 104.5 ESPN.
Hangin' with Hester and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger.
All right, welcome back in. Hanging with Hester and Hanny here on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Remember, you can always catch us on YouTube as well. And while you're there, go ahead and hit that little bell for the Hangin' with Hester and Hanny page. All right, something I wanted to get to with you, Hunt, was LSU basketball. And we got into it a little bit the other day, but it wasn't as long of a segment as I would have liked, because I think the news is so exciting with everybody they have coming back. I mean, you hit the trifecta, right? You get all three of the guys that you didn't really know. Now, you felt better about some more than others, but you get back Smart, Watford, and Days. And this is really set up for a deep basketball team. This is a basketball team that's going to have options. I think this is going to be one where you have, not just a 7-man rotation. I truly feel this is a team that can go as deep as Will Wade wants them to, 1 through 13. And we're starting to see some preseason polls come out. Aaron Torres of Fox Sports Radio, who comes on our show, had them at number 18. And I think you'll start to see them get in the teens range. And as the season goes along, this is, in my opinion, this is a top 10 quality basketball team if they play up to their capabilities.
It's really deep and really talented, and they've checked a lot of boxes. I mean, they've got veterans, they've got scoring, they've got some size now, they've got athleticism, they've got some length. I mean, they've got just about everything you want. I mean, I'd rather Tremont Waters be on the team to run the show and be the playmaker, but look, Javonte Smart played pretty well down the stretch last year and shot it a little bit better, and he's now one of the oldest guys on the floor as a junior. So I think that this team's got a chance to be really, really good. They got a chance to compete to win the SEC. They got a chance to get into the tournament and make some noise. I think a question I get all the time on the podcast is, how far can this team go?
Yeah.
And I always answer the exact same. If you would have asked Loyola Chicago 3 years ago, how far can this team go, no one would have said the Final Four. So, yeah, they can go to the Final Four. They can win the whole thing. But it's a crapshoot when you get to the tournament. I think a better answer for what do you think about this team is, how do they stack up in the SEC? And I think they're a top 3 SEC team with a chance to win the league.
Give me your main rotation, your main 5 you think out of the gate, and kind of how you see some of the early season rotation going.
I think Javonte's your point guard. I think he'll be in the backcourt with Cam Thomas and Charles Manning. And then I think you got Watford and Days as your starters in the post. Now, you've got the ability to go with some more size if you need to. Obviously Watford's not a traditional post, back to the basket, rim protector, defender, and he'd be your tallest guy on the floor. But I think those are initially your starters. Again, I think if you need to throw Brian Penn Johnson in there as a matchup deal because somebody's got some elite size that you think he's best equipped to deal with, then that may be the issue. But I think those are your initial 5. But I think for sure they're going to play to start probably 9 guys significant minutes.
What kind of role do you think Jalen Cook will have on this team? Because anytime we have an LSU basketball segment, we start talking about point guards. And, Javonte was playing well at the end of last season, but Javonte can also play the 2. And can you see a situation where Jalen Cook comes in, he moves to the 1, and Javonte moves to the 2? Or do you think Will kind of keep that veteran leadership most of the time there at the 1?
They can do that. I think Jalen Cook is going to come off the bench and give you 8 minutes, and he's going to be a pass-first point guard, and you're going to have a lot of really talented scorers on the floor with him. I mean, Cam Thomas is as gifted a scorer as there is in the freshman class. We know how good Watford is around the basket, how soft his hands are if he can develop a jump shot. Days showed that he can shoot the ball. He's a really good offensive weapon for sure. So they're not going to ask Cook to come in and have to score. He's going to be able to facilitate. They're going to have a lot of guys around him that are really capable scorers.
When you mentioned the size of this team and not necessarily having to roll them out there in the starting five, do you truly think it's going to be more of a rotation basis depending on who they're playing and what that length of the other team is?
Yeah, for sure. I think, obviously, if you can get him eligible, Brian Penn Johnson is,
which Will felt like,
they feel like he will. I think he's ready to go as a sophomore, not really a young guy. You may have to get Josh Gray up to speed. That's not a guy that you're going to count on for a ton of minutes early. But I think that Sharif can help you around the rim whenever he's eligible. And Imani Wilkinson is really long at 6'6" and a super athlete who can help you defensively around the basket. I think he's a little bit slender, but he's got length and athleticism around the rim. So they've got, like I said, they check a lot of boxes. It's an exciting team, and hopefully the season looks fairly familiar and we can get things moving towards March.
What is familiar at this point? When you look at some of these top 25s across the country, you'll always go to, okay, how many SEC teams? And Aaron Torres, who's kind of our go-to college basketball guy, he's got Kentucky coming in at number 9. He's got Tennessee at 14, LSU at 18. Thank you. Arkansas at number 20, Alabama at 22 there. So not necessarily a Kentucky up towards
Florida?
the top 5. No Florida.
Interesting. They got everybody back too.
Well,
you need a Keontae Johnson to go ahead and head on to the league because he kills us.
Their best player actually transferred to Gonzaga.
Oh. Well, Keontae Johnson's a problem.
Just mainly for us.
Yeah.
At LSU. But my point is it's going to be, I think, a good basketball conference, which it has really since they brought in the new coaches and the new wave of coaches. It is such a better product. I remember in 2014 thinking this is god-awful, right? And it's gotten so much better. But you don't see necessarily the top-tier Kentucky team as you typically do. So this is a conference that's going to be up for grabs. I don't think there's going to be necessarily a dominant team. Now, I would kind of agree with you. I think I would add Florida into the top 25 because they do get a majority of their guys back. Now, you talk to Gator fans, and we had a basketball segment on the Sirius show, I think it was last week, and Florida fans are extremely down right now on Michael White. And that's a little bit surprising because I remember his time at Louisiana Tech, and they were excited when they got that hire. But right now, this is a pressure-packed season for Michael White and the Gators.
It is, and like you said, they lose Nembhard, the point guard, who I think a ton of. He's long, he's under control, he runs the show, he's a really good player, and he goes out to the West Coast. So you got to find a guy. He controlled the ball a lot for them last year, so they've got some work to do to replace him, but they do have a ton of talent. They've got some NBA guys on that roster. I think Michael White's a good coach. They haven't necessarily had the results to back that up. So yeah, it's time for him to win some games. When you follow, a legend, you gotta produce. Yeah. That's difficult, and so the standard is high at Florida for basketball. It never was until Billy Donovan got there, but now he's shown we can win here and we can win at the highest level. So you got to produce when you get there.
I feel like a program like Arkansas was a team that just didn't do everything they could. They did not use their resources, and they did not put a product out there that they possibly could. And I've always felt like if Arkansas got a good coach in there, it could be troublesome in the SEC. They could be a team that makes noise. I think Eric Musselman's a stud. He was obviously here for a year as an assistant. He's been an NBA head coach, and I think he's got much more respect right now when you look at the Arkansas basketball program than they had before he got there. This is a team that could be a little sleeping giant in the SEC. And now they got some draft decisions, and we'll see what their roster looks like. But Musselman as a coach, I think he's a stud.
He's a really good coach. I think Arkansas fans still believe Arkansas is an elite basketball
school.
Like
it's 94?
It's like if a Wichita State baseball fan told you that was an elite program. Like, yeah, once upon a time you were as good as it got. You're not anymore. And Arkansas's not.
We're going Cal State, Fullerton, Long Beach State.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's exactly. I think, yeah, but Fullerton's still putting out some pretty decent teams. Wichita State's program's falling flat. But the point being, you can win at Arkansas. They have a great arena, a rabid fan base that knows their basketball and can get in there and pack out. You can win there. They haven't been very good, though. And so it's, time now. They've got a really good coach, and it's just a matter of getting the players in there. Last year they were kind of a two-man show with Isaiah Joe and Mason Jones. They've got to create some more depth, which they have, and have some other options. But, yeah, Musselman's good.
All right, we'll take our next break. When we come back, we're going back to football here. Got some LSU news and nuggets to get to. All that when we come back, hanging with Hester and Hangin, presented by Richard Honda.
Hangin with Hester and Hannity. Our listeners fire off their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 1045 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is a local bank with a straightforward philosophy.
It's about doing the right thing for our customers.
Participating in our community with annual local fundraisers. Offering individual attention in a modern banking atmosphere with a trusted local company. Gulf Coast Bank invested in technology with a local touch, giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime.
We're building relationships through personal service as the bank that cares about you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
If I built a van, it would do more than haul.
It would carry my entire business. I'd make it available in dozens. Make that thousands of configurations.
It would keep an eye on my fleet.
And an eye out for danger.
If I built a van, I'd make it available in diesel and gas. And I'd build it right here in South Carolina.
Introducing the all-new Sprinter, starting at $33,790. Built in the USA. Mercedes-Benz. Vans. Born to run.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Ochsner.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
To all of our heroes working on the front lines of this COVID-19 pandemic, your bravery and selflessness represent the very best of us, and we want to say thank you. I'm asking everyone around the state to join me in celebrating the heroism of our healthcare professionals on the 19th of every month at 1900 hours, that's 7 p.m. Write a note of appreciation, make plans to donate to charitable organizations, or say a prayer. To learn more, visit 19thanks.org. Thank you, and God bless.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona inviting you to join us for Thursday's AFR, presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana. We got a full hour of football talk with Mike Detillier. So join us 3 to 6 for Thursday's AFR, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hangin with Hester and Hannity on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger.
All right, welcome back in. Hanging with Hester and Hanny. Without the Hanny, but we got Hunt, so we got the H's taken care of here. On 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge, 11:30 a.m. The Tiger, CST, and of course our YouTube stream as well. Multiple ways to watch and listen to the show. All right, because one of our loyal listeners, Willie, wants to know the score update to the Pelicans. It's 12-6 Kings right now, so pretty early.
No time to be watching the Pels. The PGA's on.
Pretty early on in the game. I'll be watching both. I can multitask.
Okay, I'm not going to watch either one, actually.
We'll give you a couple score updates, but I did mention that we had some news and nuggets when it came to LSU football. Now, we all know Peter Parrish is not on the LSU football team, but it was announced today that he'll be transferring to Memphis. So he's going to stay a Tiger, but now he's going to be a Memphis Tiger. Of course, he was a 4-star quarterback coming out of the state of Alabama, number 11 overall, dual threat coming out. But, no surprise that he picks a place like Memphis. I think it's a pretty good spot for a guy like Peter Parrish.
He's really athletic, and they've put together some really good offenses. Who knows? I'm not going to pretend to sit here and tell you that I know a lot about the Memphis quarterback position depth chart.
You're not going to the Liberty Bowl to check that out?
And I'm not going to look it up because I don't care. But he's pretty athletic, and they scored a lot of points, so hopefully it's a good fit for him.
And we talked about it a long time, a couple of weeks ago, about just where the LSU quarterback room is and the health of the quarterback room, and I think it's at one of the all-time highs in recent memory for LSU football. In fact, more than just recent memory. I mean, when you look at who they've got in that room right now and who you have coming in, you've got a good line of guys you feel comfortable about, if they did have to be your starter. So
I'm kind of quietly, buying Max Johnson stock.
You should.
I think he's going to be, really good.
You should.
It's 2 years away.
I know,
so.
and it's such a small sample size of actually seeing him in an LSU uniform. But even during those early spring practices, you could tell that this guy is got something a little bit different. Now, he's a lefty, so I know that looks a little funny to some people when you see the ball come out of his hands. It's a little different, but this guy's got all the tools, and every time that the coaches talk about quarterbacks, they bring up his name. And, of course, we can go down the long line of guys you've got committed to you in the future as well.
Who's the last left-handed quarterback to start a game for LSU?
Where's Hanny at when you need him?
Did Rick Clausen ever play for LSU?
Yeah, Rick played.
Well, I know he played for Tennessee against LSU. He didn't start a game at LSU,
think Rick started one game at LSU.
That sounds right.
Okay.
That may be the answer.
The only thing I remember about Rick Clausen was he had what he called, I think he called it his swag rag or soldier rag or something, and he had a rag that had his name sewn on the rag, and he'd bring it to the bars in case he started to sweat, and that was his rag that had his name sewn on it.
Hey, look, you can't ever be too prepared, Jacob, okay? Failing to prepare is preparing to fail.
I'd rather fail than have a rag with my name on it. But I did want to start talking about some of the situation right now, Hunt, that LSU football is going to be facing, right? Because you got out of football school and you thought, okay, well, we're about to hit the ground running. We're about to have somewhat of a true training camp. And then you kind of get told, no, you got to take the ball away. You're going back to football school. And then on the 17th of August, then you can start having the football back out there. And I can just tell you from my experience, it is kind of difficult when you kind of ramp up and then you slow down, then you ramp up and you slow down. You keep going back and forth like that. So it's not only going to be LSU. It's going to be a challenge for everyone in the conference because there's the same set of rules, but it is going to be a challenge that, you got to have your veteran leaders step up because right now you're going backwards instead of forwards.
These setbacks are not a huge deal. The setback that is a huge deal is if you get an outbreak and then you have to shut it down while everyone else continues to move forward. So, yeah, it's unfortunate when they pump the brakes or throw it in reverse here for, a week or whatever, but everybody's dealing with it, and it's just part of it. What you can't have is you can't become the Marlins. That becomes a problem.
Never, there's no situation ever that becoming the Marlins is good, ever. Oh, well, they did win a couple World Series.
2 World Series championships.
Yeah, and then they blew the team up directly after that. But
twice.
Yes.
We were much better in 2003. Much better.
What happened then?
I'm not going to talk about it.
Was there a
Can we
fan
go back to football,
that
please?
interrupted?
Rick Clausen talk.
Okay.
What about Rick, the southpaw?
But I do want to tell our listeners that schedule is important. It truly is.
Yeah.
Your schedule, and they've heard me say this all week, and I know I've kind of hammered this point home, but it is because we are so used to the same schedule. But you do feel good about the situation that LSU's in because of their season last year, how long it was, and anytime you get into the college football playoff, you've got to schedule everything the right way so you don't wear your team out, so it doesn't become too long. And I thought Coach O did a fantastic job of not trying to kill his team, and I think Oklahoma did too much. I mean, 7 more practices, Hunt. That is a long time. I mean, when you have a full week more of practices than your opponent, it's going to show, and it did. LSU could have named their score in that contest. So you do feel comfortable about LSU's coaching staff being able to handle all of these changes. Somebody who is probably struggling is the first-year head coaches in the SEC. I mean, I can't imagine being a first-year head coach, and even guys as experienced as Mike Leach and, Lane Kiffin, for everything that people say about Lane, he's still been the head coach of the Oakland Raiders, USC Trojans, and the Tennessee Volunteers. I mean, so he's been around.
How about a little respect for Florida Atlantic, please?
No, that wasn't going to be my point, though.
A little respect.
They don't deserve to be in, like I was talking about, the big places that Lane Kiffin's been the head coach.
They won the Boca Raton Bowl.
Yeah, it's in their backyard. So those are challenges. But a guy like Eli Drinkwitz, who's been a head coach for 1 season at App State, I'm sure his head is just spinning through this whole deal.
Eli Drinkwitz is going to get fired in 3 years, and Leach is going to get fired in 4 years.
Why are you hating on Eli?
I mainly just like to hate on Missouri because I don't want them in my league.
All right, what about Sam Pittman? That's another first-year head coach.
They hadn't won a conference game since the Obama administration. So,
They hadn't really won a non-conference game that often either.
Well, they've won a couple.
I
think they beat Tulsa.
I actually gotten like a little nice petty exchange over Instagram over the weekend because the SEC Network put out Derry McFadden whenever they beat us in 2007, and he had the little stubby baseball bat. I got that wood. Well, I quoted it and I said, we got that ring. Because I don't care that you beat us in triple overtime at the end of the day, because we went on and won a national title, and we beat you 3 times in a row, probably a lot longer than that, but just while I was playing for LSU. And you can talk trash about the game, but we won a national championship. Like, there's nothing you can say that is going to hurt my feelings. And all these Arkansas
Coach
fans
Nutt?
came out of the woodwork and like, oh, you're still sore about a loss 13 years later. It's like, guys, y'all need to focus on North Texas, San Jose State, Western Kentucky, and all of those other teams.
San Jose State was like 3-8. They beat Arkansas.
Bad. Like, those teams beat the you-know-what out of Arkansas. Like, they weren't even close games. Arkansas right now is abysmal. They're one of the worst teams that I've ever seen put on a football field in a major conference.
Have you seen that new SEC shorts about dealing with the 2 additional games?
I've heard about it, and I heard Vanderbilt and Arkansas are well represented.
They are, and it is very funny.
I have more faith in Vandy right now than I do Arkansas.
I mean, probably. Arkansas is really bad. I mean, I think Vanderbilt's atrocious, but Arkansas is worse.
And I don't see how it's going to get any better for Arkansas.
At least
if you're Vanderbilt, you're in the SEC East. So you've got some hope. When you look at the SEC West, and I think everybody in this room could agree it's the best division in college football, right? I mean, you got Alabama, LSU. We know the teams. You got Auburn and, Texas A&M, Ole Miss.
Yeah. All right, I don't want to bring up a sore subject, and I know where you're going to go, so just shut your mouth before you even start. Who's going to win more conference games for the rest of their tenure at their current school, Les Miles or Sam Pittman?
Well, Les has already won 1, so that might be more than Sam.
He's going to go bagel? They're going to have 2 coaches in a row throw at bagels? That would be a stat.
Hunt, I don't have much faith in either one of those right now. But just because the Big 12 is not as good as the SEC, I'll go Kansas and Les. Arkansas, when you look at the challenges that they have, right now recruiting is down because the state of Arkansas doesn't have high-powered high school football. You don't have a guy who has ends to the state of Texas. Even Chad Morris had that, and that didn't really help. Your one hope was you could come down to Louisiana and you could get the guys that LSU didn't want. Well, even other schools are doing that at a higher clip. Like Mississippi State's getting some of those guys. Ole Miss is getting some of those guys. Some of the Texas schools like TCU, they're coming to get some of those guys that LSU doesn't offer in Louisiana. So you don't even have that like New Orleans connection that you used to have. Where do you get your players? And how do you compete against the Alabamas, the LSUs, the Auburns, the A&Ms, even Ole Miss right now?
This is really making me laugh, just hating on Arkansas. I miss my Sundays where I can go in the message boards and watch them cry. We got to get back to that.
So to answer your question, I honestly I cannot give you a great answer because I truly have no faith right now that Arkansas can go out there and get that done.
They just need to wait on Bill Self and Eric Musselman to warm their hearts.
Because Arkansas, like when you go back and you look at when they've had, I know we're coming up against a break, but when they've had respectable seasons, when they've had good seasons, well, they've had a player like Darren McFadden, who might be one of the best college running backs of all time, but he was from Arkansas. Peyton Hillis was from Conway, Arkansas. They went into East Texas, and they got a Felix Jones, right? You've got to get every single guy in Arkansas that's worth the damn, and you've got to go in East Texas and get guys, and they have not done that, and they're not going to do that in the near future.
Who wants to give Ryan Mallett a Scantron? You ever heard that story?
I have, actually. All right, we'll be back. Hour number 2 here on Hangin' with Hester and Hanny, presented by Richard Tonda.
Hangin' with Hester and Hanny.
Here at the Big Squeezy, we continue to serve the Baton Rouge and Southeast Louisiana areas during these troubling times. We are dedicated to providing you healthy food items to help you live your best life. From our cold-pressed juices to our delicious smoothies, let the Big Squeezy keep you going. Stay active, stay happy, and let us help you stay healthy. Visit us at our locations and also inside of Alexander's and the Thurns grocery stores or online at thebigsqueezy.com.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her Auctioner primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an Auctioner care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioner Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
To all of our heroes working on the front lines of this COVID-19 pandemic, your bravery and selflessness represent the very best of us, and we want to say thank you. I'm asking everyone around the state to join me in celebrating the heroism of our healthcare professionals on the 19th of every month at 1900 hours, that's 7 p.m. Write a note of appreciation, make plans to donate to charitable organizations, or say a prayer. To learn more, visit 19thanks.org. Thank you, and God bless.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
Oh, hey, what's up? It's Big D and Bubba, 100.7 The Tiger Morning Show. We'd love for you to join us every weekday, 4 a.m. till 9 a.m.
Yeah, everything you want in a show. Country music. We got laughs. We got celebrity in-studio guests. We just need you.
Join us every weekday morning, 4 a.m. to 9 a.m., right where it all started.
That's right. Louisiana's country station, 100.7 The Tiger.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare. at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Auctioner.
104.5 ESPN.
Callahan Injury Lawyers. Now, Hangin with Hester and Hanny with Jacob Hester and Charles Hannegriff. Hester and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger. Alongside Jacob Hester, here's Charles Hannegriff.
All right, welcome in. Hour number 2, Hanging with Hester and Hanny, presented by Richard Dixon here on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge, 11:30 a.m. The Tiger up in the Port City. CST, Cox Sports Television, as well as the YouTube stream on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. A lot of ways to listen and watch. Hunt, real quick, a little pop quiz. Do you know what that song is from, that Yo there?
No, I do not.
Not surprised.
What's it from?
Yo MTV Raps. Did you not watch Yo
I've
MTV
never heard
Raps?
of that.
You've never heard of it, or you've never seen it?
Never heard of it.
Who in here, by a show of hands, has heard of Yo MTV Raps? Okay, thank you.
I've watched TRL, Say What Karaoke.
Say
what else is on that? There's some other show.
That's VH1, yeah. Pop-up video.
So I watched a little bit of MTV in my day, but I never heard of that.
Not surprised. All right, quick score update. The Sacramento Kings lead the Pelicans 38-27, still in the first there. So still some time for the Pels to come back. Hunt, how much NBA action have you paid attention to?
Hadn't seen them bounce a ball yet.
That's surprising because you're a basketball guy. Like you played basketball all growing up. You even played intramurals in college, and you love talking about LSU hoops, but you're not diving into the Pelicans. Are you not a believer?
I hope the Pelicans do great. I just don't have any interest in the NBA. I don't like the brand of the basketball. It just doesn't do much for me. It's just they're so good. There's a lot of isolation and a lot of threes going up. It doesn't do much for me. I think I watch the playoffs a little bit every summer, but I just would rather watch the Cubs and this week for sure golf.
Which you're doing right now.
I don't have ESPN Plus, so I'm just watching the leaderboard.
Hunt, it's like $6.99.
It's $5.99 a month.
Okay,
it's not a price thing; it's a laziness thing. I've just never bought it.
Just, literally, you can do it from your phone too. You don't even have to be on a computer. Anyways, but we can sit here all day talking about how lazy you are. The ACC has released their schedule for the most part. There's still some fill in the blanks, like North Carolina's non-conference opponent, Clemson's non-conference opponent, but for the most part, we know exactly who's going to be playing within the SEC. By the way, I think every team got a bye week before they play Florida State. I know Notre Dame and Clemson and Pitt, just for a couple of examples, they actually get a bye week before they play Florida State. So not great if you're a Seminoles fan, if you're a believer in bye weeks being something that can help you out.
No, it's definitely not a good thing.
Especially from the top teams in the conference.
See if old Mike Norvell can get it figured out in Tallahassee. Somebody has to rise up and give Clemson a fight, and nobody over there is doing it. Mac Brown is not going to do it. I don't want to hear it for 1 second. That is not going to happen. North Carolina is not going to be very good.
They were a 2-point conversion away from doing it last year.
In a given game. I'm talking about for a season, like to push them and get into the ACC championship game and win.
But even pushing them is key there. You just said it. Not even beating them, but give them 3 games where they got to try in the fourth quarter.
I don't think it's going to come from Wake or NC State or Duke.
Well, this year it could come from
Boston
Notre Dame.
College. Yeah.
I mean, regardless of what we think of Notre Dame, that's a team that could push Clemson. Florida State is supposed to be
Florida State and
improved.
Miami need to pick it up.
Yeah. That's the whole argument. If Miami and Florida State are down, then the whole conference is going to be down. It'd be like if LSU and Florida were completely down within the SEC. I mean, it would be Alabama, and that would be the team that ran away with it. And sometimes maybe Georgia would give them a fight, but there wouldn't be many opportunities, right? Well, you don't typically have that within the SEC, right? One of those teams is down. They typically win 8 games, right? Well, Florida State has been atrocious. I mean, they have been crawling to get to bowl games. In fact, they had to make up a game just to keep their bowl streak going a couple years ago against UL Monroe. So we know where they're at. We've played against Miami and LSU, so we've seen where they're at and their struggles there. As Manny Diaz is now the head coach, and they're a 500 football team. So that's the answer. And also, I think you can throw, I think Louisville has the opportunity. I really believe that they've got the right coaching staff. They finally got a staff that they can trust and believe in there, but still they're a ways away. They're not close to being who Clemson is. And so it's a great point you make, because right now Clemson, when you look at their schedule, they've got Wake Forest, they've got their non-conference game, which they have not yet scheduled, open date, Virginia, Miami, Georgia Tech, Syracuse, Boston College.
Good grief.
Notre Dame, open, Florida State, Pitt, Virginia Tech.
And Virginia Tech's got a pulse sometimes, but somebody's got to step up, because Clemson's just walking all over everybody, and they're really good. But it's just that whole conference is so boring.
You know how many of those teams finished ranked last year?
No.
One team that finished ranked last year. So I kind of joked off the top, but you're exactly right. Clemson's going to be the preseason number one because of who they have coming back at quarterback. We all understand that as well, and they've got some guys coming back. Now, they lost some guys, and their top receiver is out, but that schedule, if that schedule was LSU's, what is there a game that you would be nervous about? You would circle some of them, but
Notre Dame's fine, and they're going to turn it over twice in one of the other games, and it'll be reasonable in the fourth quarter. But they're going to go 10-0. That's just a fact.
So a lot of people were wondering, okay, well, the ACC is +1. How will they schedule that +1? Who will be some of the non-conference opponents? And so we'll give those to you now. Boston College has Ohio as their non-conference opponent. Clemson, as I mentioned, they have not yet scheduled that. Duke has Charlotte. Florida State has Samford, not Stanford, but the Jimbo Fisher Samford, I believe, Bulldogs?
That sounds right, yeah.
Sure.
John Brady was the coach there.
Okay, well, Coach Brady, call in and let us know if that is, in fact, the Bulldogs. Georgia Tech has UCF, so that's really the first opponent that I'm like, okay, solid opponent.
Yeah, well, the other ones aren't going to strike your fancy unless the Ohio Bobcats.
Louisville has Western Kentucky. Unless you're Arkansas, that's not a big deal. Miami has UAB. When you look at North Carolina, they have not yet named.
What is the point of playing these games?
To get a win.
Okay.
North Carolina has not yet named their opponent. NC State went with Liberty. Notre Dame went with Western Michigan. Pitt went with Miami of Ohio. Syracuse went with Liberty. Virginia Tech.
Two Liberties?
Virginia Tech.
Hugh Freeze is getting 2 money games?
Virginia Tech went
distribute those funds responsibly.
Virginia Tech went with Liberty.
No! Hugh, he's taking all the money from the ACC.
Virginia went with
Get that
VMI.
burner phone out, baby. We're going to get some digits.
Dennis chair and burner phone. Virginia went with VMI. Wake Forest went with Old Dominion. So Liberty has 3 games within the ACC.
That is so beautiful. Get that money, Hugh. I know you know how to use it.
Okay, so that's kind of like, okay, why? To your point, and I was going to finish the schedule before I really dove deep into this. Why? None of those games does anything for me. There's not one of those games. And, could UAB beat Miami? Yeah, they could. But I don't really care if they did. That does nothing for me. So I was kind of hoping like this +1 would give us better games. They give us, maybe with someone else. And I realized that all the other conferences started to go conference only, even though there's another one that has +1. But none of these games does anything for me.
Yeah, and I've been the guy who's beat the drum for the cupcakes early in the season for LSU for the reasons that I've laid out with injury concerns and with the build. You're going to automatically win the game, and I think we've talked about why some schools like Vanderbilt or whoever needs a couple of wins, Mississippi State needs a couple of wins to try to get into a bowl game. But with everything being totally thrown out the window this year and everybody playing 10 conference games, and at this point, I don't even get the point of even playing Liberty. I don't know. I don't quite understand it. But
so now that I see this model, I'm actually more excited that the SEC is going just conference only. So we don't have to see Florida State, Samford. Like those aren't games at the end of the schedule that I need to see. Now, if the ACC and the SEC would have gotten together with the Big 12, and that +1 would have been LSU, Virginia Tech, Clemson, Florida, whatever combination. I know Clemson would have played South Carolina in that model, but just a better combination of games. Like, I'm all for that. Like, give me some competition. None of these games is going to do anything for anybody outside of fill your TV contract because you had to get to 10 games.
Yeah. I mean, there's financial ramifications of the whole deal. I mean, you're obviously going to be cutting checks to these teams, and they, of course, are going to jump at every opportunity to get that. Obviously, Liberty's doing that. But, again, I think it goes back to the point that I pretty much made to start this segment. Who cares what anybody in the ACC does until they start winning football games? They're not any good.
From the Bayou Forward Huddle, isn't Clemson in the ACC basically Hunt's dream scenario?
Oh, yeah, I would love to be in the ACC and go 13-0 and get in the playoffs every year. That would be fantastic. I'm all for it. I don't want to play Florida and Alabama. I'll go play Louisville and Boston College.
Gross. From Nook, inside the Bayou Forward Huddle, Virginia Military Institute, really good school, not great at football.
Not great, VMI. Seen that campus.
So I do wonder what Liberty's going to get paid, and we got a question inside the Bayou Forward Huddle about that because they're not going to get the $1 million gate. They're not going to get that. They're not going to get
No,
what
you
they
just
typically
negotiate it down.
would get. But to Liberty's credit, and they're an independent, so they have the flexibility to do this. You know, if you get $300,000 Hunt from each team, I mean that's not going to be what you thought you would get if you played some of these teams, but it's going to be much better positioned than other G5 and independent schools that don't have this ability to play some of these ACC, SEC, Big 10, Big 12, Pac-12 opponents.
Well, I think it's probably going to be on a sliding scale. I saw that LSU lost Yale because the Ivy League's not in basketball, because the Ivy League's not playing. So LSU added, and the school slipped my mind. I'll go back and look it up. But they added someone to the non-conference schedule, and they said if we get 100,000 if we get 100% attendance for this basketball game, we'll pay you X. If we have 75%, we'll pay you this.
Yeah.
If we get 50%, we'll pay you this, and we won't go below. No matter if we have no fans, we won't go below this amount. And then you just see at the end of the day how much you're able to create revenue-wise, and that's what you distribute back out to the other team. I think that's the way that they'll probably structure most of these.
A little disappointed in this +1 model from the ACC. I'm not sure that I would watch any of those non-conference games if they were in my backyard. All right, we're going to take –
What if Hugh Freeze coaches it from a hospital bed?
Well, that'd be comical, so maybe I would watch that if he had the dentist chair out there. When we come back, we're going to be joined by former LSU Tiger, former San Diego Charger, former number 18 over at LSU, Brandon Taylor, who does a great job with Hunt and Marlon Favorite on the pre- and post-game show for the LSU Sports Radio Network. We're going to talk about DBs. We're going to talk about switching back to a 4-3 defense. All that coming back with Brandon Taylor here on Hangin with Hester and Hangin, presented by Richard Honda.
Hangin with Hester and Hangin.
All right, as you know, we're brought to you by Baton Rouge Foundation Repair. Baton Rouge Foundation Repair offers services to correct the settlement of both slab foundations and pier and beam foundations. Some signs of foundation problems are doors that won't close, sunken floors, cracks in the foundation, cracked outside and inside walls. Also, some signs of things that contribute to those foundation problems. Poor drainage is one of them. And if you're considering buying a home that has foundation problems, some companies say that their work will fail if there's poor drainage around your slab, and you might be asked to pay again. Don't allow that to happen. Baton Rouge Foundation Repair's water chill pilings are engineered to withstand poor drainage conditions. Don't be asked to pay twice for your foundation repair work. Get Baton Rouge Foundation's water shield pilings, and estimates are always free as well. Don't forget, Baton Rouge Foundation Repair has been servicing the greater Baton Rouge area for more than 22 years. Their owner, Michael and Monica, a lifelong resident of Baton Rouge. Give them a call today, 225-275-0101.
In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
If I built a van, it would do more than haul.
It would carry my entire business. I'd make it available in dozens, make not thousands of configurations.
It would keep an eye on my fleet.
And an eye out for danger.
If I built a van, I'd make it available in diesel and gas. And I'd build it right here in South Carolina.
Introducing the all-new Sprinter, starting at $33,790. Built in the USA. Mercedes-Benz. Vans. Born to run.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
To all of our heroes working on the front lines of this COVID-19 pandemic, your bravery and selflessness represent the very best of us, and we want to say thank you. I'm asking everyone around the state to join me in celebrating the heroism of our healthcare professionals on the 19th of every month at 1900 hours, that's 7 p.m. Write a note of appreciation, make plans to donate to charitable organizations, or say a prayer. To learn more, visit 19thanks.org. Thank you, and God bless.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is a local bank with a straightforward philosophy.
It's about doing the right thing for our customers.
Participating in our community with annual local fundraisers. Offering individual attention in a modern banking atmosphere with a trusted local company. Gulf Coast Bank invested in technology with a local touch, giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime.
We're building relationships through personal service as the bank that cares about you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
On the next edition of Game Time, we got all kinds of action as Jimmy Ott and Ben Mintz talk some PGA, MLB, NBA, and more. We'll be at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar from 6 to 8 p.m. on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hangin with Hester and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger.
All right, welcome back in. Hanging with Hester and Hanny. Without the Hanny, we got Hunt Palmer in here with us, presented by Richard's Honda here on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Excited to welcome on our next guest. We wanted to have him in studio, but his arms would not allow it, so we called him on the phone. That is former number 18 over at LSU, former San Diego Charger, Bogalusa's finest. Brandon Taylor joins the show. What's up, B. Taylor?
Nothing much, Mr. Karen Crow.
Hey, glad to have you on, man. It's been a long time since we had the ability to catch up. So first off, how you doing, my man?
Oh, man, I'm doing great. Finally happy to be back from Houston, finally back working in Louisiana, so it's a blessing. So I'll travel up and down the highway anymore, but how about us getting to watch some football soon, man?
Man, we hope that becomes a reality. And we were talking earlier, Brandon, about we have a coaches poll out today, so it's starting to get closer. It's starting to look like we're actually going to get some football here pretty soon. And that's really the first thing I wanted to kind of talk about was obviously LSU's defense. But I want to talk about a guy in Jacoby Stevens because I love his skill set. Our listeners know I have been a champion for him for a long time because he can do so many different things. And you were kind of one of those guys at LSU too. You could play on three different levels. You weren't a guy that was just going to play a deep safety. So kind of talk about Jacoby Stevens and what you see from him.
Jacoby Stevens reminds me of myself a lot as far as like his personality. He's not the sexy type of player, what they would say in the NFL, like the guy that brings a lot of attention to himself with antics and stuff like that. He knows his assignment, he does his job, and he moves on to the next play. It's not much celebration, it's not much anything other than that, and he just makes plays. Like, he's not that type of player that's going to make himself stand out to get the extra few seconds on the highlight film just to show himself. No, he's going to do his job. He's going to keep everybody in alignment and be on task with the job at hand and not get carried away with the outside stuff.
My partner in crime on the LSU Sports Radio Network, pre- and post-game, Brandon Taylor, hanging with Hester. Today on a Thursday, Brandon, obviously with the new defensive coordinator, Bo Pelini, comes in, and they don't have a spring practice, and they haven't been able to go out there and practice with a football. They've just been able to watch a lot of tape and do a lot of walking through. How far behind, if at all, do you think this LSU defense is going to be, being that they haven't had a chance to practice in the new system?
I think that as far as defense, they won't be far behind because you got to think the defense is always ahead of the offense around this time, and I'm more concerned with the offense, the offensive side of the ball, because at the end of the day on defense, you can keep it simple on defense, keep the ball in front of you, don't call any type of crazy exotic defenses, and see ball, get ball, and make plays. And one thing that you have to do on defense is have those guys in shape. That way they can give effort. And if you can give effort, you can limit, you can decrease your play calling. Like, you got to think, like, when we went to West Virginia in 2011, we ran 4 plays. We just gave effort, and that's something that you cannot coach. If the player has it, he has it. And that's the ones you want on the field, and that's the ones you want to go out there and perform. But I think Bo Pelini and Coach O, like, the thing with Coach O, I think he's 2 steps ahead of everyone. Like, everybody's on the same thing right now. Everybody's going through the same situation. But I think he's thinking 3 steps ahead of each college coach.
Brandon, I want to ask you real quick, kind of piggyback kind of on what Hutton was talking about as far as kind of being behind, but I want to talk about the schedule right now because we talked about it before you came on, right? You get out of football school, they finally give you a football for 8 to 10 days, and then all of a sudden everything gets pushed back, and now you're going back to football school without a football, and now you know you have to wait until August the 17th to be able to really get back into football drills with a ball and put pads on and all those different things. So for you as a former player, how would it have been for you to try to get ready, even though you've kind of gone back and forth, ebbs and flows of when you can start?
I think this is exactly what football needs, period. You get back to the basics of things, the small things that matter. Jacob, you remember Pop Warner football, 5 years old, no pads on, he's going through walkthrough, no ball, just learning how to play football. Like, I think they need to get back to the basics of that with head injuries and all that stuff, letting the guys learn how to tackle the proper way. And it builds the players more mentally than physically, because I always say that it was a blessing that I got hurt in college my junior year and got to sit out the rest of that season and watch the game of football and not just be out there reacting. If you can get there and watch and just physically build your mind mentally, like that brings on a whole nother level in a player, and he's thinking more mental. Like, these guys are getting fed film every single day, hours and hours and hours, and everything is on there. Like, you're limiting injuries. Like, we're gonna go into the season with a full healthy team. Like, all these guys are gonna be in tip-top shape, because I know Moffitt is running them to death, but they're going to be that much more mentally strong and that much mentally intact into the playbook and the game at hand. And I think like a player like Derek Stingley is just deadly, because the athletic ability is already there.
You mentioned Derek Stingley, so I'll stay right there. You play with Patrick Peterson. You play with Morris Claiborne, 2 of the best cover guys to ever come through this program, and Derek Stingley certainly deserves to be mentioned in the same breath as those 2 guys. Do you think anybody challenges him this year, or you think they just go the other way?
The only person that can challenge Derek Stingley is Jamal Chase, and I don't think he can wear another jersey, another team's jersey. Because I actually sat with Dwayne Thomas yesterday and watched film with Stingley. We just watched specifically Derek Stingley versus Jamal Chase, and oh my God, like, it's like Jamal Chase is pound for pound the strongest player I ever seen. And he reminds me of early defense so much, the way he carries himself and the way he uses his athletic ability and his weight room strength to run routes and get off the coverage. And the way Stingley was sticking to him, like every pass was contested. And yes, it went 50-50 on both sides, but that's what you need to see, and that's what other players need to see without a ball, like how those guys compete without a football. That way you can know how to compete when the football is brought into football.
Brandon, something we talked about, a little bit last year, but I don't think we talked about it enough, was the injury to Todd Harris at safety, because he was a starter. He was a guy who was that steady Eddie back there, where he allowed Grant Delpit to kind of be the X factor, who kind of roamed all over the place, because you knew Todd Harris was going to cover him up in the back end. Then you lose him for the season. Now, obviously, he's coming back. And as a defensive back, as a safety, kind of tell our listeners what it's like to have a guy back there that you can trust, and it allows other players to be free.
Oh, man, that just allows him to learn every position. And I seen him actually a few times during the games, and he was down. And I'm like, dude, this is your time to get a step ahead of everyone, because you actually getting to watch people make mistakes, and you can mentally fix it right there in your head and say, I would do this on this mistake. So you watching it live in the game, and you watching it in the film room. So you are walking cheat code right now. You just got to take advantage of it when you get back on the field and regurgitate all that when you step back on the field. And as for him, he's always been in the right spot. He's always made plays, and he's always been a consistent player. No matter the snap count, he did get on the field. When he was on the field, we knew he was making plays. Like, who was the first person to pick Tua off when Tua had no interception that season? Todd Harris. He set the tone for that season and for that defense, and for the interception streak that Tua went on after that. Like, he's going to make plays in big-time situations, and just having him back just brings so much more confidence on that defense and so much more swagger.
All right, Brandon, being a guy who wore number 18, I'm going to finish the interview with this one. Do you have a choice or maybe a couple of candidates that you'd like to see wear the number 18? Now Franklinton's the only place that's actually had multiple guys wear number 18, so I feel like I'm going to a good source right now.
Oh, man. The guy we just heard of, Jacoby Stevens, like the most well-rounded person from off the field to in the classroom to how he handles himself in interviews. Like, I can't name anybody else. I can't think about anybody else. And if he doesn't get it, I feel like we're cheating ourselves as former 18s. Like, this guy is like the golden child of LSU right now. Like, he has the sky's the limit for him.
All right, there you have it, Jacoby Stevens endorsement. I like it.
And we got to give it back to a defensive back. Like, come on now.
Hey,
they bring the swag to it. Like, Jacob, you had a little swag. Murph had the big arms. I had the cover. So I had to bring a little swag to it. Being the first defensive player to ever wear 18, I just like to see it back on that side of the ball once again.
All right, that's fair enough. It's been a long time since they're running back. Has worn it. Not really. J.D. Moore wore it a couple years ago, but we're always trying to get it on a running back. Something I was talking about yesterday, I didn't even realize it. It's been since the first guy, Matt Mock, that a quarterback has worn number 18.
Oh, yeah, but you got to think, like, Matt is like the foot injury he went through. Like, when you hear the name Matt Mock, you think just a purebred, full-bred LSU player. Like, that's LSU from the head to the toe. He started it all, and I just think that if a quarterback was to wear it, he would have the only pick in that say so. I wouldn't even want to vote on that because I have so much more respect. I have so much respect for that, like paving the way for us as the 18s. Like, I would just let him. If he had the choice for a quarterback to wear it, I would have no say so on that, and I would respect it to the fullest.
All right, there you go. There he is, Brandon Taylor, former LSU Tiger, former San Diego Charger, good enough to join us here for a couple minutes. Of course, you can catch him with Hunt and Marlin on the pre- and post-game show on the LSU Sports Radio Network. Always appreciate time, BT.
Oh, yes, sir. Y'all fellas be good on that end.
All right, you as well. Hey, it's getting closer to, finding out who maybe number 18 will be.
It's just a slam dunk for Stevens. I mean, Chase is already wearing 7. He's a star, and but I don't see anyone else that.
Look, I really can't hide from my vote. I mean, I said it on the
yeah, you did,
the platform of the National Championship Parade in January. So it's not like people don't know who my vote is. I mean, Jacoby Stevens to me is a guy that just kind of is the number 18 for LSU.
I agree.
So,
give the man his number.
All right, we'll take a break. More to come here on Hangin' with Hester and Hanny, presented by Richard Honda.
Hangin' with Hester and Hanny.
GMFS Mortgage and GMFSmortgage.com. Right now, with rates at historic lows, it is time for you to take a look at your personal balance sheet. Maybe it's time for a refi. That refi could save you thousands of dollars, not just in the long term, which is obvious, but in the short term, the ability to skip a mortgage payment or two might be invaluable to you. Maybe you've been thinking about getting into the market for a new home. Your purchasing power could be at an all-time high with these interest rates. Find out for sure. Sit with a counselor locally from GMFSmortgage.com. You'll answer a few questions. They'll give you all of the options, and then you can make the best decision for you and their family. You and your family. That's what they talk about when they talk about changing lives. They're talking about changing your monthly budget for the better. So do what I did and do what thousands of others have done. Get your options today, whether it's a new home, a refi, a construction loan on your current home. Start your journey today at gmfsmortgage.com.
We opened up the playbook and expanded our coverage. Listen daily in high definition on 98.1 HD2. We are 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is a house call. This is a test result. This is a prescription refill. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare. Start your virtual visit today at Auctioner Health.
Do you know the proper way to prevent the spread of COVID-19 in your office? We do. We're Jani-King, a leader in the cleaning industry for over 30 years, and we've developed comprehensive programs to address proper cleaning and disinfection. We have experience in applying disinfecting programs in hospitals, office buildings, schools, and other venues. Now we're ready to help and able to assist customers that need disinfecting services.
Jani-King, the king of clean. Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
Citizens Bank is proud to bring you the Fan of the Week. But during these times with no fans, Citizens Bank is switching its support to the Banking on BR campaign to raise money for the Baton Rouge Food Bank. You can help out by visiting brfoodbank.org or bankingonbr.com.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust.
Coming up on Fridays Off the Bench, we get you ready for the weekend, recapping Pelicans Kings and looking forward to the Birds versus the Wizards. Hunt Palmer and Cole Kublik stop by to talk about the new shape of college football and who it affects the most. Off the Bench, 104.5 ESPN.
Hangin with Hester and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger.
All right, welcome back in. Hanging with Hester and Hanny. Presented by Richard Dixon here on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 11:30 a.m. The Tiger. Don't forget you can watch us on CST and also on YouTube on the 104.5 ESPN page. Real quick, before we get to a golf update, going to give you a little Pels update. Down 67 to 62 to the Sacramento Kings. So making a little bit of a comeback. So basketball, a long game. I always tell Hanny would be down in the dumps right now, huh? You just got to have a little faith. Basketball's 4 quarters, not 2 quarters.
Tell Hanny to cheer up.
All right, let's go to a little golf update from our golf expert.
Expert. Out at Harding Park playing the PGA Championship in San Francisco. It's a beautiful day, 65 and sunny, not a ton of wind. So course is gettable. Right now, Zach Johnson and Martin Keimer are both at 5 under par and on the golf course, tied for the lead. Scotty Scheffler, Jason Day, Xander Schauffele all at 4 under par. They are a shot back. Looking at some notables here, Tony Finau is 3 under. Kevin Kistner also 3 under. Tiger Woods, after a really hot start, he was 2 under par, has dropped a couple shots. He is now just 1 under through 10 holes today. Rory McIlroy also 1 under. A lot of golf to play. Primetime golf all weekend. I can't wait.
How much trouble are you going to be in because of primetime golf?
Well, a little bit, because, there's probably going to be a couple of pops involved because I'm watching golf, and I'm not supposed to do that on the weekdays, but when they're playing primetime golf and there's a cold Bud Light there, I'm helpless.
Somebody's got to drink it.
Yeah, well.
Might as well be Hunt.
Got to do something before my second beer. Might as well have my first.
Don't forget, we still got Richard Dixon hopping on with us at 2:15. We're talking LSU tight ends and offense whenever Dick Dixon hops on. I do want to go back to Major League Baseball. We talked about it at the top of the show with Todd Walker. Something that I feel like I've noticed, and I realize that through any season you're going to have injuries, but it does seem like they are piling up. It seems like you got some soft tissue injuries because of the guys getting ready and then shutting down and then getting ready again, and all those things that we've talked about. You're starting to see some of that. In fact, in my no class, I had Shohei Ohtani because of the way that he's been handled. So are you surprised by how many injuries baseball's had?
Not really. It's just part of it. One, throwing a baseball is not a natural motion, and when you got guys throwing it 98 miles an hour all the time, sometimes shoulders and elbows aren't going to agree with it. And then you got, unfortunate things like Soroka's just coming off the mound and his Achilles just pops.
Oh, see, why'd you have to just skip
right over
that?
That's a pretty important injury.
Yeah, no, and the all-star second baseman and our best DH option.
Yeah, so that stinks for you. All my guys are healthy, so and we're 10-2. But it's it's just kind of part of it, and you got these expanded rosters. You just got to make the best of it and try to go out there. And I kind of hate the term next man up because inevitably the next man's not going to be so good. The Braves just can't find somebody off the scrap heap that's as good as Mike Soroka. It's just not how it works.
Yeah,
but,
Cal Wright, Vanderbilt. Cal Wright's not showing up anytime soon, unfortunately.
So I mean, it sucks, but it's just part of it.
Another thing you've got going on in baseball is you've had some star players, really opt out, and after starting with their teams. Cespedes did it for the Mets. In fact, they couldn't find him in Atlanta, and then it came out he just left. I mean, he took his stuff from the hotel and went back home. Lorenzo Cain, who is a Cubs killer,
yes,
is another guy that has opted out in the season. And then you've got vice versa, a guy like Nick Markakis, who opted out at the beginning after talking to Freddie Freeman, who had COVID-19, and then he saw his team playing and said, wait a minute, my guys are out there, they're playing, they're going through this, they're risking themselves. I need to be out there with my team. And he's, in fact, coming back to the Braves. And so you've really just got things going on all over the place with Major League Baseball.
Most important thing for me in terms of sports and in terms of baseball coming back, and I've been talking about this for 2 weeks, so it's not exactly a news flash, but I have been glued into every pitch of these Cubs games and have been emotionally invested and fired up and frustrated and thrilled, and it's been it hasn't affected my watching the games, and I think I've gotten the same vibes from the Pels games. T-Bob says it hadn't affected him either, so I think those that are pretty football-centric, that really past Saints and LSU, nothing really moves the needle for them, and they haven't gotten to this point yet. It's coming, and I really think that if LSU is playing Florida with no fans in the stands and on your television, you're still going to feel what you've felt your entire life. I believe that.
It's been a long time since I've watched a college football game on TV, because I've been fortunate enough to cover the team. So since 2014, I've been at the game. I've been to every LSU game since 2014, home and away, because we do LSU Game Day Live on CST. And, I don't know if I'm ready for that feeling of watching a game on TV. I'm hoping that we still do our setup the same way, because I'm that guy, I'm that fan that feels like I can control it if I'm there. Like, even though I have no control over the game, if I'm in the building, I feel like I have some control. If I'm watching on TV, I've got nothing.
Well, no, I still think I do have some control. I'm turning my hat around backwards. I'm, taking my shoes on and
wearing
off.
your red tie, or going back to the dorm to get your red tie.
Going back to the dorm to get the tie. We did that. Yeah, so I feel that way as well. I mean, I'm with you, and that's a totally different discussion about going to games as opposed to watching them at home. There's a lot of people that would rather grill some food, have a cocktail, and sit in their recliner and watch it on their big screen TV. I'm not one of those people. I like the rush and the jolt and the energy and being in the stadium. I don't really mind sitting in traffic for an hour. I don't care about that. I don't have to buy tickets, so that's nice, but that's a totally different thing. Yeah. But in terms of just convenience, I prefer being in the stadium. But if that's taken away, I still think that the competitive juices get flowing when you're watching.
I'll be very curious to see how media is handled because it's been handled differently. And we started this segment talking about Major League Baseball and talking about injuries and talking about guys opting out. But as we transition this conversation, it brings up a point of what happens to media. I wonder how many people you'll have credentialed and what the coverage will look like, because it's going to look different. We can promise you that, because even for our LSU show that Gordy and I do with Victor Howell and Eric Alexander, like Vic and Eric are back in studio on away games. Well, Gordy and I typically do the broadcast from inside the stadium, right? For the most part, we go inside the stadium and we do it, well before kickoff, or we did one in the College Football Hall of Fame for the Peach Bowl. So we've had that access, and I wonder what that access looks like, because obviously we've talked about fans, and including today, the news came out that Happy Valley, Penn State, will not have fans.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one of the biggest stadiums in the country. We all know about the whiteout. So that's big news. And so I wonder what coverage even looks like.
Yeah, and everyone's handled things a little bit differently. In terms of, I'm just speaking from what I've seen over the last couple of weeks, the Cubs television people stay at Wrigley. They don't travel with the team on the road. They're calling every single game from the Wrigley press box. And they send their sideline reporter to go to every game, and they can have some in-stadium correspondence that way. And I'm watching the golf tournament, and they're doing press conferences. A player comes and sits in front of the mic, and then they're on Zoom, and there's a moderator, and he says, all right, next we're going to go to, Joe Smith from the Post-Courier. Joe, unmute your mic. And then he'll talk and ask a question, and they'll go. And there's some breakdowns, and it doesn't run as smoothly as you want, but they're limiting access just about across the board, in every sport. So you'd imagine that would probably run into the fall.
Yeah, I truly hope that we'll have play-by-play announcers in the stadiums in college football. Football's different. It's just different. And I'm not trying to crap on baseball and basketball and soccer. Y'all know I love all my sports and played all of them growing up and in high school and all that stuff. But there's something about calling a football game and getting the feel of the crowd. And I know you won't have that, but you'll still have the football in front of you, and it's a different call to me when you're inside of a football booth, and it's just done differently.
Hannegriff and I were talking about the baseball calling games from not being in the stadium, and you're watching on a monitor and you see a fly ball.
Yeah.
Without any depth perception, it's tough to do. You got to kind of wait until the camera switches over to the fielder, and you can't tell where the shifts are. You can't tell who's warming up in the bullpen. Like, there are some shortcomings in a baseball broadcast that, probably some of that stuff translates over to for the football.
I was watching, it was Braves-Rays, I think, and for some reason I hit the wrong button. I had the Rays broadcast, but the Braves had a chance to score some runs, so I just kept it there until it played out. And the Rays announcers, they had a switch in left field, and I want to say they were like, yeah, I think it's him. Not really sure. We'll let you know when we get a better look at it.
Yeah.
Like, they had no idea who came in the game at left field.
Not great, but
so to my point, football's so fast, and you have so many people on the field. Jersey numbers, you have a spotter. There's a reason you have a spotter. That's why Jim Nichol, by the way, all SEC spotter. That's why we have Jim Nichol, so he can spot out for the radio broadcast, and you can tell jersey numbers and all those different things.
Yeah, it's challenging. I'm just ready to go back to normal. When is that?
What's normal?
Everyone is at the game, including the announcers and the fans and the opposing teams from other conferences.
And their bands.
Sure.
Up in the top deck, if Texas ever comes back.
The eyes of Texas.
All right, we'll take a break. Remember, we still got Richard Dixon set to join us at 2:15. Don't go anywhere. Hanging with Hester and Hanney, presented by Richard Tonda.
Hangin' with Hester and Hanney. Off the Bench, Hanging with Hester and Hanney. After further review and more are all live daily on the 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge YouTube page. Subscribe now to interact with us inside the live chat. Find highlights for each show's channel and get notified whenever we go live.
104.5 ESPN invites you to take a short quiz for a chance to win a brand new EU1000 generator from our friends at Bozeman Distributors. Simply go to 1045ESPN.com now through August 16th and take the quiz to see how prepared you are for hurricane season. Everyone who takes the quiz is automatically entered to win the generator. Our winner will be chosen on Monday, August 17th. Get prepared for hurricane season from 1045 ESPN and stay prepared with Bozeman Distributors.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Ochsner.
Le posso offrire un caffè? Le posso offrire un caffè? Andiamo insieme da me, non c'è.
Call Mr. Electric today for electrical repairs, upgrades, and installations.
If I built a van, it would do more than haul.
It would carry my entire business. I'd make it available in dozens, if not thousands of configurations.
It would keep an eye on my fleet.
And an eye out for danger. If I built a van, I'd make it available in diesel and gas. And I'd build it right here in South Carolina.
Introducing the all-new Sprinter, starting at $33,790. Built in the USA. Mercedes-Benz. Vans. Born to run.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
To all of our heroes working on the front lines of this COVID-19 pandemic, your bravery and selflessness represent the very best of us, and we want to say thank you. I'm asking everyone around the state to join me in celebrating the heroism of our healthcare professionals on the 19th of every month at 1900 hours, that's 7 p.m. Write a note of appreciation, make plans to donate to charitable organizations, or say a prayer. To learn more, visit 19thanks.org. Thank you, and God bless.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is a local bank with a straightforward philosophy.
It's about doing the right thing for our customers.
Participating in our community with annual local fundraisers, offering individual attention in a modern banking atmosphere with a trusted local company. Gulf Coast Bank invested in technology with a local touch, giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime.
We're building relationships through personal service as the bank that cares about you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Citizens Bank is proud to bring you the Fan of the Week. But during these times with no fans, Citizens Bank is switching its support to the Banking on BR campaign to raise money for the Baton Rouge Food Bank.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona inviting you to join us for Thursday's AFR, presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana. We got a full hour of football talk with Mike Detillier. So join us 3 to 6 for Thursday's AFR, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hangin with Hester and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger.
All right, welcome back in. Hanging with Hester and Hanny, presented by Richard's Honda. Hanny out till Monday. I don't know what Hanny's doing right now. Think he's listening to the show?
I think he's probably watching the Pelicans.
Yeah, or golf. I wonder if he took your advice and bet.
Took J-Day?
Yeah.
He's creeping up that leaderboard.
Because you didn't take your own advice.
No, I don't bet on sports because I'll lose.
But All right, a quick score update in case you did bet some sports and you bet the Pelicans. The Kings up at halftime 77-70. With a score like that, sounds like defense is optional.
Somebody play some defense. Get down in the stance, boys.
Man, I do think it is really. I hope the Pelicans make the postseason because I just think, and not like they're going to go on this run and beat the Lakers or the Clippers. I'm not saying that, but That franchise could just use a playoff appearance and not be in the lottery, and that just gives your young basketball team so much hope going into the next season. And you've got your guys coming back. I know B.I. is a restricted free agent, but you've got your guys coming back outside of J.J. Redick, who knows, he might want to sign back with the Pelicans. And so just getting in the postseason that first time is really important, because most championship teams, Hunt, when you look at it across professional sports, it's not, it's that year before you make the big run where you got in.
You got to cut your teeth. And I think there's value in terms of the NBA and getting into the playoffs for the first time. I think there's value in getting into a series where you play the same team 5 times in a row, and you have to change your game plan night to night and adjust. And that's not something that is very similar to the regular season. Yeah, it's basketball, and you got to go out there and play. But I think getting into a postseason series and having to deal with playing the same guys 5 times in a row there's some value there.
I just love what it can do for your confidence. And just my experience, we were a team that in 2008, we were 4-8. We were 4-8. The Denver Broncos were 8-4. It was like that. The shot of us getting in the playoffs is slim to none. Well, Denver loses 3 in a row. We win 3 in a row. Then who do we play the last game? We play the Broncos. And so we go out there and we destroy Jay Cutler and the Broncos. And we get into
don't care
the postseason, and then we beat a 12-4 Colts team. And the momentum of that. Now we lost to Pittsburgh in Pittsburgh the next week, but just the momentum of that propelled us into a 13-3 season the next year. So what was an 8-8 season, but we gained confidence. Like, okay, we can beat Peyton Manning and the Colts in the playoffs. And so just what you can gain from just getting in the postseason and having just a little bit of a run. The Pelicans got in the postseason and they took 2 from the Lakers, not even winning the series. I mean, that does so much for your franchise. It gets you out of, hey, what lottery pick do we have mindset to, okay, what can we do now on top of that? I mean, it's across the board in professional sports. I understand that, but, man, this franchise right now, I just think it would do so much more for them than anybody else.
We'll see if they can get it done. They're certainly an exciting team, but if you're giving up 77 points a half, you're going to have to make some adjustments.
The other team gave up 70.
That's pretty good, but 77, not good.
Well, it's been something, and when we have all of our Pelicans guys on, we've talked about the defensive woes for this basketball team, and something else that we've talked about is this team has so many guys that they count on. I understand that they're a deep basketball team, really, when you look at how many guys they play. But the one guy I can always point to see how good or how bad it's going for the Pelicans is Lonzo Ball. Right now, when you look at the plus-minus in this first half, he's minus 15. That he is a guy that is key to the success of the New Orleans Pelicans. When they started to go on the run right before Zion and after Zion came back, Lonzo Ball was a guy you could point to say, man, he raised his level of play. And when he plays bad, the Pelicans play bad.
He's got guy with the ball most of the time, and that makes sense. I mean, he's got to run the show, and you've got other role players and guys that you count on to score more than him, but he's got the ball most of the time.
How do you feel about his career so far to this point?
I don't like watching him shoot.
It's not the smoothest.
That's coming from a guy who had a really ugly jump shot himself. So when I'm saying that, it's significant.
I'd love to see video evidence of your jumper.
It was just.
Are you a set shooter? Are you a jump shooter?
Yeah, I was a set shooter. You kidding me? Think I'm going to elevate?
Why not?
I'm going to stand in the corner and just drop threes. I told you once I attempted 18 threes in a high school game.
18?
That's called getting up shots, son. Homer was sitting in a 2-3 zone. I loved
Homer.
it. We were putting up threes.
How many did you make?
7.
Okay, that's not...
Tied a school record.
What did your coach say?
Keep shooting.
Shooting.
We got behind, so like 3 of them were in the last minute. But still, 18 threes, that's a good night at the office.
You weren't even like blowing this team out?
No, we lost.
You lost the game when you jacked up 18 threes?
Yeah.
Carmelo Palmer.
Yes.
My God. We were down 3, like 8 seconds left, and we designed a play for me to come up and take a 3, and the guy didn't pass it to me.
Wait, you were the number 1 option?
Yeah, that year it was. We weren't very good. We didn't make the playoffs.
What? Playoffs? What was the final record? You win a game?
Yeah, we won some games. We finished 1 game out of the playoffs.
Like in the new rules, like where everybody makes playoffs?
No, back in 2006. So when men were men.
What was the overall record?
I don't know. I think in district we probably went like I don't even know how many district games there were, honestly.
Okay, here's the question before we take another break here. Any all-district honors for Hunt Palmer?
I was first team all-district.
Can we confirm that?
Yeah.
Can we get Dr. Palmer to send us a picture
of my letter jacket?
Not the letter jacket, because anybody can go to Sports World up in Shreveport and get a Letterman jacket. No, I need to see the actual Shreveport Times article where it has Hunt Palmer, Loyola Flyers, first team all-district basketball.
I don't know that exists.
Oh, they put all the first team all-district
Well, I mean,
teams
it was in there at one point. We certainly don't
if
have
it happens, you've got it.
No, we don't. I don't have that.
There is no doubt.
It was a nice surprise when I got down to the breakfast table the morning and I opened the paper and the district team was in there and I was on it. That was nice.
Inside the Bayou Ford huddle, who believes that if Hunt was in fact all district, he doesn't have the paper frame?
It's 2A. Who cares?
Let us know. We'll be back. Hour number 3, Richard Dixon set to join us at 2:15. Hanging with Hester and Hangin, presented by Richard Honda.
Hangin with Hester and Hangin.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
This is big. Really big. I mean really, really, really big. Because Honda's summer clearance event is going on right now at Richard's Honda. With 0 to the 4th power on brand new Honda Civics. That's 0 down, 0 due at signing, 0 security deposit, and 0 first month payment. Plus, summer clearance on every new vehicle in stock. Just another reason why people call Richard's Honda the smart choice. I-12 at Millerville Road and richardshonda.com.
When you want the best of Louisiana, you don't go to a superstore. We know what we like, and we like it local. Same goes for banking. As one of Louisiana's largest local banks, we offer homegrown services crafted around you. Gulf Coast Bank, the bank that cares about you.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111, your law firm for a lifetime.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact Service Master Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. Service Master Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
Callahan Injury Lawyers. Now, Hangin with Hester and Hanny with Jacob Hester and Charles Hannegriff. Hester and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger. Alongside Jacob Hester, here's Charles Hannegriff.
All right, welcome in hour number 3, Hanging with Hester and Hanny, presented by Richard's Honda. Hunt Palmer here, and always thanks to Hungry Howie's.
That is correct. I had a friend text me yesterday. They ordered pizza, he and his wife. They got a large pizza. It cost $20. That's a wrong chain to be ordering pizza from. All right, Hungry Howie's, right now, you can get 3 two-topping medium pizzas for $5 a pizza. $15, 3 medium 2-topping pizzas. That's the way to go. Hungry Howie's is different because they bake their bread and their crust in-house, fresh every single day. We'll tell you about those flavored crusts. They got the butter crust, delicious. Butter cheese crust, excellent. That Asiago cheese, the ranch, which I love. Onion, if that floats your boat. Cajun, you want a little kick. The sesame, the garlic herb, that's an awesome one as well. Hungry Howie's right there south of campus on Nicholson, right there at Lee. Like I said, 3 medium 2-topping pizzas for $15. Download the Hungry Howie's app. Set your delivery time. Set your pickup time. It'll be ready for you right when you get off work. You can pick it up, head to the house. Hungry Howie's bringing you Hanging with Hester and Hanny and Hunt every Tuesday and Thursday.
If Hunt would have been all district, it would still be framed in on a bookcase.
No, it's on the letter jacket, but not framed.
Hunt, was it co-ed basketball?
It was not, just guys out there. We had the girls play, before us. They were a little bit better than us.
Hunt, are you sure it wasn't peewee ball?
Yeah, legitimate high school ball. Had referees and everything. Had a scoreboard.
What's it say about your team when Hunt is the only option for the game winner?
We were not good. We did not make the playoffs. That's what it says. It was fun, though.
What number did you wear?
3 for Taurus Bright.
Taurus Bright.
Bright and Ryan Terrio were my 2 number choices.
Oh, God.
They were the guys.
Terrio.
They were the guys at LSU that played the positions I played, so I went with those numbers. Although I couldn't get 1, which is what I wanted when I got to high school. I wore it in middle school. I was the last person on the baseball team my sophomore year because I played basketball, and so everyone had picked their jerseys in like January, and so I just got what was left. It was number 12, so I was 12 in basketball and baseball.
It's not great.
It wasn't great, but I wasn't great either. So,
no argument there.
Yeah. Didn't get any scholarships from Penn, like some people here.
Yeah, and if you would have opened it, let's see, 17 years later, and found out, in fact, if you wanted to be an Ivy Leaguer,
Quaker,
could have happened. Could have happened.
You'd be in the big leagues of broadcasting instead of hanging out with me.
Do they have a good journalism school? I have no idea.
Probably.
It's probably. Actually, when you look at it, and most of the people that you see on TV, Syracuse and Florida,
Northwestern, and Missouri wants to tell you how awesome they are too all the time.
I'm not going to.
I see you, Gilbo.
I'm not going to Como though. Just
oh my God! I just got a text.
Do you have the picture? I can confirm that there's multiple flyers. Charles Winborn.
Yeah. He was a freshman. He was
and
good.
Also Hunt Palmer from Loyola, first team All-District 1-2A.
1-2A, baby. We're playing in the big leagues. Homer, North Caddo, Loyola, Spring Hill, Lakeside. Basically the Big East.
I mean, who did this research? Your dad
John
did?
Marshall.
Oh. You can listen to him on 11:30 a.m. The Tiger a little bit later on today. We got Lonzo Butler from Homer, CJ Germany from Spring Hill. Okay, couple. Oh, you didn't get MVP though. No. That was Dennis Clark from Lakeside.
Yeah, and Lakeside, we needed Dennis Clark to score some points and beat Homer so we could make the playoffs, and he scored like 6 the last game. So thanks, Dennis, wherever you are. I appreciate that.
Does exist. I'm not going to lie to you. I was questioning you. And you had it only on your Letterman jacket.
Just went up to Shreveport Gymnastics and got him to put a bunch of all districts on mine.
See, Playboy Marty, it tells you like where he grew up. He went to Shreveport Gymnastics. See, us original Shreveporters, we go to Sports World on Jewella, and we go to Sports World to get our Letterman jackets.
We got to go to Line Avenue.
Fun fact about Charles Winborn. I threw him an alley-oop in an 8th grade game, and it was the highlight of my athletic career.
Oh, so you actually know the other guy from Loyola that got on the first team all
Yeah, he went to Southfield for a year.
Okay,
there it is.
These people exist.
He's throwing lobs. He's like Alonzo Ball over there.
All right, good to know. Speaking of Lonzo Ball, it is now in the third quarter, still down 7, 91-84 Kings there. All right, as we know, what we seem to think is NFL training camp, although we know it's not a typical training camp. The Saints are in a position where they pretty much know, Hunt, who's going to be on their team.
That's correct.
In fact, they already got down to 80 players on their roster, and I think they are in such a fantastic position in this moment right now because they don't have to try to figure out a ton of roster management. They know the guys that they can count on. You sign a couple of veteran players, and Malcolm Jenkins, and we got a chance to see him back in his Saints uniform for the first time in a long time today. And also you go get Emmanuel Sanders to be your slot receiver. Right now, with everything that's going on in the NFL, if you're a Saints fan, you feel pretty good about where the Saints are.
For sure. They had those bumps in the road where they were 7-9 3 years in a row, back 14, 15, 16, and there was an effort made to clean up that locker room and get the culture back to where they needed it to be. And they cut bait with some guys and shipped them out of town and went back to the drawing board. And they actually, despite being maligned by most people around here, and probably for good reason, have turned around their drafting, have done a tremendous job in the draft. And this roster is built. I mean, it is absolutely as good as any in the NFL. I mean, of course, the 49ers and the Ravens have got really good rosters. Everybody seems to believe that the Cowboys have a really solid roster. The Chiefs are great. But the Saints, 1 to 22 are as good as anybody in the sport, I think. Now, it's been just heartbreaking losses the last 3 years in the playoffs, but they could have won a Super Bowl in one of those 3 years, and I think they can win a Super Bowl again this year.
And I love the fact that they have a core of that team coming back. They want to finish what they've kind of gotten started. Like you mentioned, very close losses, bad calls. We all know what's happened the last couple of seasons. And so right now, this is a team that, for the most part, has stayed together. They're trying to move forward. I actually like what they've done in the draft the last couple of years. And so, again, you're not evaluating a ton of guys at the back end of your roster. But here is Sean Payton talking about evaluating players without a preseason.
Well, we've got to find a way to do that. I think you're going to see we've got enough padded practices, and we're going to find a way to get the reps we need and prepare our team as best we can. I think Bill said it the other day. It's similar to what colleges have done for years. And I coached in college. You had scrimmages. You didn't get the luxury of playing preseason games. So the overall cut down to your 53 will present some challenges because, look, each year there's something that takes place in a preseason game where a guy steps up maybe and does something unique that all of a sudden gets him on a team. And so there'll be a little bit more pressure on the down-the-line guys, the younger guys that are trying to find a spot. And yet hopefully we can provide them those opportunities so that they don't go unnoticed.
Those things can happen in a preseason game without a doubt. We can all point to a memory where a guy had a preseason moment in a game and he made the team because of it. And I've had numerous teammates that's happened to. Some of them, they last for that year. Some of them last for 6 years, 7 years, 8 years, whatever it might be. But it can also happen, Hunt, in practice. And I'll give you an example from my experience. When I was in Denver, C.J. Anderson, who was their longtime starting running back after this, was an undrafted free agent rookie out of Cal. They drafted Monty Ball in the second round that year. And Monty Ball was struggling a little bit. And there was one practice where he fumbled. The coaches got mad. Get out of there. CJ, get in. And just kind of like, hey, looking around, hey, get in there. CJ, against the first-team defense, breaks about 6 tackles and goes 85 yards to the house. That was it. That was the moment. It wasn't in a game. It was in a single It was 9-on-9. It wasn't even a full offense and defense out there. He was going to make the team regardless after that moment. In fact, he got hurt and didn't really play in a couple of the preseason games and was hurt going into week 1, week 2 of his rookie year. But because of that one play, he was going to make the team. And I've seen it happen so many times in my NFL career. So you can still have it, though, have that moment without playing preseason games.
Yeah, for the Saints specifically, when you talk about units and timing and working together and communication, all those things that training camp and preseason games help you with, look, Drew Brees and Michael Thomas don't need additional reps. They're going to be just fine. Emmanuel Sanders is a pro. Like, he will figure this out, and he and Brees will work together just fine. We had this conversation last week, you, Hanny, and I, about they've probably got 4 or 5 spots to figure out. And the one spot that you would really like to have some preseason reps and some extended practice reps is looking at that offensive line on the interior and figuring out what you want to do. Now that Larry Warford's moved on, you made a first-round draft choice. You got to figure out what the middle of that offensive line is going to look like. And outside of that, they're fine. Look, I mean, Cam Jordan doesn't need to play 2 preseason games. Sheldon Rankins, DeMario Davis, like they're ready to play. And so they're not counting on, this is not like the Bengals where you got a guy that's got to lead your entire offense that's never seen an NFL snap. That he needs practices and he would need preseason games. And that this is a veteran team that's already got the kinks worked out.
2 of the rookies I would have liked to see in the preseason, Adam Troutman, the tight end from Dayton, just because he's going up a big-time notch in the level of play and talent around him. So how does he handle that? Because the talent is there. This is a guy that came into Dayton as a quarterback, transitions to tight end. He was a star on that level, did great at the Senior Bowl against other top college athletes. But let's see what it looks like, when he gets into a preseason game. Won't have that opportunity. And, of course, Tommy Stevens, because you traded back into the draft to get him, so Carolina couldn't. And you also had a plan for him. And in the preseason, you would have seen maybe what that plan was. They're now not going to have that opportunity. So when you trade it back into the draft to get a Tommy Stevens and you don't have that look, it's going to be a little bit more difficult for him, I think, to carve out a role.
I said this after the draft, and I'm going to say I haven't budged on it. I think that pick stunk. I don't think they're ever going to use him. Well, I said that wrong. I think they will use him. They will make an attempt. I don't think he'll be a productive member of the Saints organization.
I'm with you, and we had Tommy on the show, and he was great, but I want to know what that plan was, because we saw him be replaced multiple times at Mississippi State. Now, he wasn't ever going to be a quarterback only in the NFL. They've got a role for him, and in fact, he's played running back at Penn State. So he's got a skill set that's not only obviously a quarterback. And Taysom Hill, everybody's going to point to that as far as, okay, can he be Taysom 2.0? But I think he needed a preseason to show exactly what he could do. And you don't want to lose him, because I know you traded late-round picks, but you still traded for him. And so you want to be able to get as much out of Tommy Stevens as you possibly can. All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we'll be joined by Richard Dixon here on Hangin with Hester and Hanny, presented by Richard's Honda.
Hangin with Hester and Hanny. Our listeners fire off their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 1045 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Divorce is hard. Divorce is messy. Divorce is exhausting. The law offices of O.C. Brown walked me through my divorce and helped me find the right solution for me, my kids, my finances, and my property.
Call the law offices of O.C. Brown, your law firm for a lifetime.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
0% for 72 months on all new 2020 F-150s. Visit Bayou Ford for a new 2020 Ford F-150 with 0% for 72 months. And all new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Auctioner.
To all of our heroes working on the front lines of this COVID-19 pandemic, your bravery and selflessness represent the very best of us, and we want to say thank you. I'm asking everyone around the state to join me in celebrating the heroism of our healthcare professionals on the 19th of every month at 1900 hours, that's 7 p.m. Write a note of appreciation, make plans to donate to charitable organizations, or say a prayer. To learn more, visit 19thanks.org. Thank you, and God bless.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is a local bank with a straightforward philosophy.
It's about doing the right thing for our customers.
Participating in our community with annual local fundraisers. Offering individual attention in a modern banking atmosphere with a trusted local company. Gulf Coast Bank invested in technology with a local touch, giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime.
We're building relationships through personal service as the bank that cares about you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Here at the Big Squeezy, we continue to serve the Baton Rouge and Southeast Louisiana areas during these troubling times. We are dedicated to providing you healthy food items to help you live your best life. From our cold-pressed juices to our delicious smoothies, let the Big Squeezy keep you going. Stay active, stay happy, and let us help you stay healthy. Visit us at our locations and also inside of Alexander's and Mathern's grocery stores or online at thebigsqueezy.com.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast.
On the next edition of Game Time, we got all kinds of action as Jimmy Ott and Ben Mintz talk some PGA, MLB, NBA, and more. We'll be at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar from 6 to 8 p.m. on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hangin with Hester and Hannity on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger.
All right, welcome back in. Hanging with Hester and Hanny, presented by Richard Honda. Of course, here with Hunt Palmer today. Going to welcome in now to the show, Mississippi's finest. Not that hard to achieve. Richard Dixon, former LSU tight end, of course, used to come in and sit here across from me. Been too cool for school lately. Joins us now. What's up, Richard?
It could have been a really great intro until you had to throw in the last bit of it. Doing pretty good. How about you guys?
I don't know what you're referring to.
Not that impressive.
Oh, you heard that.
I heard that. I also heard that Hunt jacked up 18 or 19 threes in a game.
I got up 18 threes one night.
Okay, so let's start there because, Richard, you were a really good high school basketball player. What would you have done if you would have seen a guy that looks like Hunt Palmer take 18 threes in a game and only make 7 of them?
I say, Coach, somebody ain't playing defense.
You can't imagine the joy that would run through my bones when we won the tip-off or went on offense the first time and somebody sat back in a 2-3 zone. That was just my life was made.
I bet your life was made when your coach didn't kill you for jacking up 18 threes.
Well, when you go to a 2A school, there's only like 3 guys in the entire school that know how to dribble a basketball, so there's not really another – you can't take me out.
Okay, so I got you. So I see what type of competition you were with.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah, there's no question about that. All right, Richard Dixon, wanted to have you on today because obviously over the last couple of days, Jamal Pettigrew put his name inside the transfer portal. Now, we've heard from Coach O say if he wants to come back, he's got an open door to return to the team. But if he doesn't come back to the team, what does that do for LSU? Because when we started talking tight ends throughout this offseason, which has been a very, very long offseason, he was a name that you kept bringing up because he could be that Y. He could be the guy that was the inline blocker. Eric Gilbert was going to be more of an F. He was going to be in the slot, on the move, those type of things. So how big of a loss could this be for LSU?
To me, it just really means that they're not looking to use that Y. I thought he's a guy that had all the tools to be a great Y. He's a big guy. He's athletic. He can move. But to me, all this screams, that's not who they're looking for. I think that they feel really confident with Torrey Carter being a 6'6" guy weighing around 245, 250, who can fit a similar role that you had in Moss. If you go back and look at Carter, he's got 12 receptions, 2 touchdowns, not a lot, but he's a guy that's got pretty good hands when you see him throwing the ball his way. I think that he's the safety valve they got for him right now. He's a guy they feel confident in. And it also, to me, seems that they feel really highly confident in Eric Gilbert because Gilbert is the guy that fit more of what I thought Pettigrew could do. And to me, it really seems that there's a lot of confidence in Gilbert.
Let's just go fully local here, Richard. And who's got more of a learning curve to get to when you talk about Eric Gilbert going from high school to the college level at LSU, or if you talk about Adam Troutman going from low-level college football to the Saints with a Hall of Fame quarterback? Who's got more catching up to do without this full training camp?
The biggest catching up to me is high school to college. Because there's so much different speed. Everybody was the best person on the team coming out of high school. Everybody was a stud athlete in their area. When you get to going college to pro, to get to the pros, you got to be one of those 2 or 3 percenters that were good enough to get there. And at that point, it's a lot of the mental side of it. There's not a lot of guys who become more athletic once they get to the NFL. Who can study, who can learn the offense, who can comprehend what they want you to do and be in the right place at the right time.
Richard, I want to ask you, kind of going back, talking about guys like Torrey Carter. I know Torrey came into LSU as a fullback, and so he's had more experience in the backfield. And when you're trying to do more inline blocking or closer to the line of scrimmage, how big of a transition is that truly? Like, what's going to be the hardest thing for a guy like that? Because you've got a guy like Cole Taylor. They want Cole Taylor to gain a little bit more weight, but, eventually he's going to be that guy. Not sure if he'll be ready to do that this year. So what's some of the biggest challenges when you haven't done a ton of inline blocking?
It's all about getting your pads low and being underneath the guy. And I think where Torrey's advantage is that he's not a very tall guy. He's a 6-foot guy. He's a guy that has been blocking as a fullback. He has a low pad level. You're not asking a 6'4", 6'5" guy to get underneath somebody's pads. You're asking a 6-foot guy. I think it's a little bit easier for him. I think momentum change is going to be something he's definitely going to have to learn. But I think he did a lot of it last year. He wasn't really a fullback last year. He practiced with the tight end, did a lot of the work that Moss did. And, as far as what LSU's offense is doing and what they're doing going forward, you don't see a lot of the inline, hand-on-the-ground blocking. Most of what Moss did was from the hip, or he came out, split out, did a lot of motioning. I think that, as far as you're talking about what really is a true H-back, you don't hear the term H-back anymore, but that's what I thought Moss really did last year, and I think that's what Torrey could excel at. I think there's a lot of confidence in Gilbert, but you got to have a veteran guy that you feel comfortable with before you make that type of move, and I think that Torrey's comfortable in his role being a year 2. And
you got to have a tackle that you can trust as well if you're that guy who is the H-back. And you did it for a long time, Richard, and I remember doing it in the NFL. You come across a formation and you get on your right tackle's hip and you be trying to block Tamba Ali, backside cutoff. He's a little bit bigger than I was if you don't know, and you tell your tackle, hey, give me a hand, just give me one post hand so I can get underneath his pads, and of course the right tackle leaves you immediately and you don't have that help. So it really is kind of a combination deal where you got to have that trust in your tackle as well.
There's no question. It's chemistry. You always hear about quarterback and center chemistry. Well, and tight end, H-back, and a tackle have to have chemistry because you got to know how that left tackle is going to block down, how he's going to take his first step, and you got to know if he's going to give you a post hand. Do you need to cheat over and give him a half body? You got to have a lot of chemistry with it. What Torrey does, and if you've watched a lot of it, he does a lot of motioning, and an H-back is what is really a fullback tight end combination. It's what I did when I got to the NFL. And it's something that I think Torrey feels comfortable in. I think it allows them to feel confident and grow in Gilbert and give them a chance to get there.
All right, let's transition to the schedule portion of LSU football, something that's kind of been a theme over the last couple of days since we've learned the schedule. Richard, You got out of football school. You finally got a football. You had it for about 8 to 10 days, and then all of a sudden they take it back away from you. We now know you can't get that football back until August the 17th. There's rules put into place, only 14 hours a week right now. It moves to 20 hours a week on August the 17th. So not a real true training camp, but it's kind of like you take 2 steps forward, you take 3 steps back. And just I want to get your opinion, because we've been doing it really the last couple of days. Anytime we've had a former player or a current player on, what is a challenge when you kind of have this schedule where you think you're moving forward, then all of a sudden you move back?
I think it's just, everybody getting your mind right and getting amped up to get ready for the season. I know Miles Brennan and the receivers have been wanting to get together, and truth be told, they're probably already getting together regardless of the rules, just not on campus. But it's something, with the coach's eyes on you, with the film out there, for you to build that confidence and know where everybody's going to be taking each step. And, getting that, it's chemistry. We talk about it all the time. The teams are built in the summer and spring, and I think that's the biggest challenge for these guys, is they haven't had a full summer or spring. And then you get this opportunity to start getting together after football school, and you're starting to feel the momentum getting towards football and getting, your mind right, and then it's just taken back out. I don't know what the guys are doing. I heard Coach O say a lot of guys are still in town hanging out. They might be throwing over at Freedom Field somewhere, who knows? But I have a feeling that those guys are going to keep the ball in their hand, just not on campus.
Richard, this is the other side of the ball, but certainly you've gone through installations before on the offensive side of the ball. How detrimental is it to LSU's defense to have a new coordinator and not be able to go through spring and not have a normal camp?
I'm not as worried about it. Defense always matures faster. You talk to a lot of guys going through camp. Defense kicks ass the first 2 weeks of camp. It's just because you're relying strictly on athletic ability. You got guys who are reacting, not thinking as much. So once you get in there and you learn the base defense, everybody knows what a 4-3 is. Guys have played it. You play variations of it. I mean, they played variations of it with Dave Aranda. It's something that you know your position, and luckily enough on defense is you're in a reaction role from the start. So I would still assume, even with LSU's offense kicking right now, having a new quarterback and new guys on the offensive line, when they do get the pads on, the defense is probably going to win the first couple of practices.
It doesn't hurt that Muschamp's got the script of Jimbo's plays before we go out to practice either, Richard.
I mean, that's pretty bad. When that's the NFL, college, high school, that defensive coordinator looks at the script before he does his script.
No, there's no question about it. Hey, one of the other positions I want to talk about before we get you out of here is the running back position. I know we've long talked about, the 3 guys who potentially could be the main guys out there. Do you feel any different about what that rotation looks like?
Did you watch Chris Curry squat the other day?
Yeah, there was a lot of LBs on the bar there.
Goodness. And what you got to like what Chris Curry did at the end of the year. I think he's the biggest surprise. Everybody thought that either Ty Davis-Price or John Emery would come on and be the go-to guy. But when you go back and watch the Oklahoma game, when they put Chris Curry and gave him the starter and what he did with that opportunity, I think he did nothing but, take leaps and bounds away and become the true number 1.
Hey, we do need to get you out of here with this one because we had Brandon Taylor on a little bit earlier on in the show. Of course, wore number 18. You wore number 18 as well. Any candidates you'd like to throw out there as we get closer and closer to naming the new number 18?
You already know who it is. Jacoby Stevens.
All right, so that's 2 for 2.
Yeah.
Well, 3 for 3 if you count me. So 3 for 3 for Jacoby Stevens. All right, we appreciate it. When can we expect you back in studio, Dick Dixon?
When you give me a call at least a day in advance, not in the morning.
Well, no, see, you've been a part of this show for 3 years now. So you just be like, hey, I'm coming in on Thursday, or hey, I want to come in on Friday, or that's kind of the power that you have.
I was actually at a meeting downtown yesterday when you and Henny were on, and I thought about just walking in.
Okay, tomorrow we have an open co-chair.
Tomorrow was that Friday? Yeah, we should be good.
We should be good. Yeah, sure. All right, Dick Dixon, we appreciate it, man.
All right, man. You have a good one.
You as well. Real quick, Pelicans have 103 points, and they're shooting 63.5% from the field, and they're down 14 heading into the fourth quarter.
Get in the stance, boys. Play some defense.
What in the world?
They're going to give up 145 points.
It's now 119 to 103. This is a doomsday scenario for your boy T-Bob and all of the loyal Pelican fans out there. Could be a rough morning for your boy, Bobber.
Yeah, you hate to see it.
All right, we'll take a break. More to come here on Hangin' with Hester and Hangin', presented by Richard Tonda when we come back.
Hangin' with Hester and Hanny. In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is a local bank with a straightforward philosophy.
It's about doing the right thing for our customers.
Participating in our community with annual local fundraisers, offering individual attention in a modern banking atmosphere with a trusted local company. Gulf Coast Bank invested in technology with a local touch, giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime.
We're building relationships through personal service as a bank that cares about you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Oh, hey, what's up? It's Big V and Bubba, 100.7 The Tiger Morning Show. We'd love for you to join us every weekday, 4 a.m. till 9 a.m.
Yeah, everything you want in a show. Country music. We got laughs. We got celebrity in-studio guests. We just need you.
Join us every weekday morning, 4 a.m. to 9 a.m., right where it all started.
That's right. Louisiana's country station, 100.7 The Tiger.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
If I built a van, it would do more than haul.
It would carry my entire business. I'd make it available in dozens, make not thousands of configurations.
It would keep an eye on my fleet.
And an eye out for danger.
If I built a van, I'd make it available in diesel and gas. And I'd build it right here in South Carolina.
Introducing the all-new Sprinter, starting at $33,790. Built in the USA. Mercedes-Benz. Vans. Born to run.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way.
Coming up on Fridays Off the Bench, we get you ready for the weekend, recapping Pelicans Kings, and looking forward to the Birds versus the Wizards. Hunt Palmer and Cole Kublik stop by to talk about the new shape of college football and who it affects the most. Off the Bench, 104.5 ESPN.
Hangin with Hester and Hannity on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger.
Hunt thinks Playboy Marty is related to Hugh Hefner.
Wouldn't be a bad thing.
That's true.
Mucho dinero.
That's very true. Playboy Marty, where did you go to high school again?
I'm a proud Magnet Mustang.
You don't even have football.
No, we did not. It was not a great call.
That's unacceptable.
I had Ivy League aspirations, but ended up going to LSU, so I could have gone anywhere.
Okay. Aspirations.
It's the Harvard of the South.
Yeah, everybody knows it is that. What was the best opportunity you had for college as far as education-wise?
I got into UCLA.
Okay.
So
I don't really know if that's hard or not, but it seems hard. It's far away.
Harder than LSU.
But it's
far
far.
away from, Pasadena.
Spoken like an LSU grad.
Spoken like a guy that got an offer from Penn and didn't know it till 17 years later. We're starting to see some of the top stars in college football opt out of the 2020 season. Parsons, the very talented linebacker from Penn State, a top 5 prospect in Mel Kiper's initial 2021 rankings, made it official today. We know that you had Caleb Farley from Virginia Tech earlier in the week. You had Bateman there from Minnesota, the receiver, very talented receiver, was a couple days ago. I believe Miami's top edge rusher, one of the top edge rushers in this upcoming NFL draft, decided to opt out today as well. So I'm a little bit, I guess I'm a little surprised, but not surprised that it's the top guys in the draft rankings that are doing it.
You don't want to play? Don't play. Rafael Nadal doesn't want to play in the U.S. Open? Don't play. I get it. Times are weird. We've never dealt with anything like this. Some people aren't comfortable with it. For whatever reason, sit out. But we're going to move forward with the guys that want to play.
And also, you've got LSU's biggest star, Jamar Chase. 247 covered it yesterday. His father said he is locked in and ready to go. He will be playing for LSU this fall.
Number 7's a beast.
And I said this yesterday, and I don't want to come off as I'm hating on somebody else's culture or, they don't care about their team. But I mean, Penn State's a team that had championship aspirations. I mean, I think the world of Franklin and his coaching ability there at Penn State, and Miami wasn't going to win a national championship. I understand that. Minnesota,
row the boat.
Yeah, they're a nice story, but they weren't going to win a championship. But Penn State's one of those teams that could. But the culture at LSU right now, I think it just speaks volumes for what Coach O has built in the last couple of years. And the fact that Jamar Chase not only never thought about it, other star players on LSU's team, I mean, they're moving forward. They're ready to play. They're excited to play. And everything you get over there right now is that they feel safe. They feel respected. They feel all those things that you need to feel right now during this time.
Now, winning puts a smile on everybody's face, and we know that.
It does, but I feel like it was even in 2018.
Sure, but I have a but to that. It was just, but it's pretty obvious from everyone you talk to that building is functioning at an exceptionally high level. And everyone, as all the assistants will come out and say they enjoy going to work every day. The players have bought fully into the system. They're, for the you can't keep everyone happy, but the vast majority are very happy. And things are as good as they can be over there. We're in weird times, but that building is functioning at a level that certainly no one could have seen coming after Mississippi State ran them off the field and Troy beat them. I mean, and I remember talking to, I won't name any names, but I remember talking to someone walking into practice after that season had ended, and I think it was spring or fall, whatever, and I kind of said, what do you, and the answer that the reporter gave me was, I mean, everybody knows how this is going to end. I mean, he's going to flop and they're going to fire him.
And you will tell me that name after we get off
I will.
air?
That's fine.
Okay.
But and he would admit he was wrong now. But the point being is just it was tough to, when you were at the bottom of the mountain, it's tough to see the top. And they got there, and now it's about maintaining it, which some people haven't been able to do. But if you have, and there's no reason to believe that LSU can't.
Yeah, it was going to take a new process, and like you mentioned, that year that was the process, right? And that was the year you had to go through a couple of lumps. It was not a bad season by any means, right? You go to a respectable bowl game and all those type of things, but it's not what LSU wants to be. And then they continue to grow that, and then you get a win in the Fiesta Bowl, and of course we know they're national champions now. But more than any time maybe ever in college football, having that chemistry and having built that culture is as important as it's ever been because of what we're going through, and the players really honestly having to trust these coaches and trust the staff and trust everyone, all the personnel around the program, right? You have to trust Shelly Molinex, who everybody, that's why we call her Mama Shelly, right? I mean, and so all those things have been built up, which right now during this very difficult time, you feel really good about being an LSU fan. For
sure. How much fun was last year?
And somebody points out in the Bayou Ford huddle, look, I'm not, I'm not there, but still the word out of Austin and Tom Herman right now, that's not a great culture. That's not cohesive, everybody moving in the right direction.
And that's when you get friction, it's hard to reverse a ship. I mean, you've got to, and it's so hard to do, but you've got to have everybody moving in the same direction and agreeing on things. And when I say everybody, I don't literally mean every single person, because you can't keep 100 guys happy. But the point being, the people need to be working in the same direction. And when you get friction and some of the players don't like some of the coaches, and it can get south in a hurry.
All right, before we take our last break of the show, this is for Playboy Marty from Joey inside the Bayou Ford Huddle. Caddo, I hated playing Caddo because the only cheer they knew was Go Magnet High when they played us. We were also a magnet school.
Is he talking about soccer?
Yeah. Well, you don't play football.
Hey, we won state in soccer my junior year.
You don't play football.
No.
Baseball?
No baseball.
Basketball?
No baseball or basketball.
What do you play besides
Lifetime sports?
Soccer and lacrosse.
Is that it for men's athletics?
No, I mean.
Okay, well, list them.
We had fencing, tennis, golf. I told you, lifetime sports.
Fencing?
Lifetime sports.
Didn't know that was. Okay,
I've never heard the
fencing.
term lifetime sports.
Yeah, I've never heard that either.
It was on our gym uniforms.
Hey, you wanna know my magnet soccer story? And our listeners have heard this before, but this is for Playboy Marty. We were losing 4-0 at half to Magnet. I believe they won state that year as well. Coach Saban, who was recruiting me, well, actually I had already signed, came to the game. We had like 2,000 people at this game, and I begged my brother, hey, I want to show Coach Saban how fast I am. Put me up top. I want to run a little bit, even though I played goalie. Scored in 11 seconds there, Playboy Marty, against your Magnet High.
What was the end score?
4-1.
Nice.
But there's still a goal being scored. All right, we'll take our last break of the show. When we come back, we're going to answer your questions, whatever you've got for me, Hunt, Cade. Do you really want to Playboy Marty? Some questions you can if you want all that. When we come back, Hanging with Hester and Hangin, presented by Richard Sonda.
Hanging with Hester and Hangin.
All right, speaking of Richard Honda, as you know, they are the title sponsor of our show here. You can find them online at richardshonda.com. There you can find the warm, fuzzy, promise, upfront, transparent internet pricing, no unwanted preloaded accessories, complimentary paint protection, superior service and parts center, outstanding customer care. You're going to get complimentary free first oil change as well. All that falls under the warm, fuzzy promise right there on the website of richardshonda.com. Of course, you can order parts and accessories. You can schedule service right there on the website. You can even have a conversation with sales in the bottom right corner. We would encourage you, though, go see them at 13413 Millerville Greens Boulevard in Baton Rouge. That's I-12 and Millerville. Over 700 new and pre-owned vehicles to choose from. You're going to find something that you fall in love with, no matter if it's a car, a hybrid, a midsize, or a full-size SUV, van, truck. They got you covered in every single way over at Richard's Honda, home of the warm and fuzzy feeling.
We opened up the playbook and expanded our coverage. Listen daily in high definition on 98.1 HD2. We are 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Divorce is hard. Divorce is messy. Divorce is exhausting. The law offices of O.C. Brown walked me through my divorce and helped me find the right solution for me, my kids, my finances, and my property.
Call the law offices of O.C. Brown, your law firm for a lifetime.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
0% for 72 months on all new 2020 F-150s. Visit Bayou Ford for a new 2020 Ford F-150 with 0% for 72 months. And all new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Auctioner.
To all of our heroes working on the front lines of this COVID-19 pandemic, your bravery and selflessness represent the very best of us, and we want to say thank you. I'm asking everyone around the state to join me in celebrating the heroism of our healthcare professionals on the 19th of every month at 1900 hours, that's 7 p.m. Write a note of appreciation, make plans to donate to charitable organizations, or say a prayer. To learn more, visit 19thanks.org. Thank you, and God bless.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is a local bank with a straightforward philosophy.
It's about doing the right thing for our customers.
Participating in our community with annual local fundraisers. Offering individual attention in a modern banking atmosphere with a trusted local company. Gulf Coast Bank invested in technology with a local touch, giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime.
We're building relationships through personal service as the bank that cares about you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona inviting you to join us for Thursday's AFR, presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana. We got a full hour of football talk with Mike Detillier. So join us 3 to 6 for Thursday's AFR, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hangin with Hester and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger.
Go to 1045ESPN.com now through August 16th, just a couple weeks away, and take the quiz. See how prepared you are for hurricane season. Everyone who takes the quiz will instantly put their name in the drawing for a brand new EU1000 generator from Bozeman Distributors. Get prepared for hurricane season from 1045 ESPN Baton Rouge. Stay prepared with Bozeman Distributors.
All right, it's that time of the show as we finish up here on a Thursday afternoon for a little Ask Us. First one's for Hunt.
Me.
Do you see the Cubs keeping up this type of play and making a postseason run?
I think the Cubs are legitimately good. Are they going to play at 900 winning clip? Probably not. But I think they're capable. The thing about this year with the playoffs is you get that 3-game series out of the chute. Anything can happen in 3 games. So I think the Cubs are good. They got some issues in the bullpen, and the playoffs are going to be kind of a crapshoot.
All right, Ask Hester. Tell us an illegal recruiting story. I don't have one. I don't know if you know this, but I was like 795th in the country. So I didn't get a bag, if that's what you're asking. I can tell you, though, I was on the Superdome carpet before we played the state championship game my junior year, and two 5A coaches, both tried to tell me they could get my mom a nursing job in their towns for me to come play my senior year there if I wanted to.
Nice.
I can tell you that.
You weren't going to leave the port city, though.
They're both in Northeast Louisiana.
Well, I know who those people were.
All right. Ask us, better 318 town, Homer or Manny. Okay, so my mom is a Haynesville Golden Tornado, so I cannot say Homer in this situation, so I'm going to go with Manny.
Well, I played a lot of basketball games and baseball games in Homer. I have not spent much time in Manny at all. Went to one football game there. But I do know Pat Absher very well, a good friend of mine who's from Homer, so we'll go with that.
Ask Playboy Marty, Lifetime Sports. Is that are they only played on the Lifetime channel?
Nice. Cabe made that same joke. But no,
we've never
it just
heard
means golf, tennis, gymnastics. We were good at gymnastics.
Okay, coming back to you. Ask Playboy Marty, have you done widespread panic with mints?
I have not. We were going to go in June, but obviously that didn't happen.
Ask Hunt, was it Moscona that told you that about Coach O?
It was not Moscona.
I can confirm that was not the name he gave me. More of a comment. There goes J.J. Redick's playoff streak.
Yeah, if you give up 145, you're probably not going to win. And they're going to give up 145, and they're not going to win.
Ask us, instant reaction to Penn State announcing no fans in the stadium. Not surprised. Thought maybe they go like Ohio State and some other places and say 20,000 and not no fans, but not surprised at the end of the day.
Yeah, it's I'm a little bummed, and it's not a good trend, but you got to keep hope alive.
Ask Us. In an episode of Survivor, you have T-Bob, Jordy Culotta, Hunt, Moscona, and Ott. Who's the first to be voted off the island?
Well, T-Bob's running around on Twitter with a big beard on right now, and it's a little ridiculous, so people might not want to watch a lot of that.
Okay, I'll ask Cade. Who's the first one to get voted off?
First one that gets voted off is I think Jimmy's wiry, so I feel like he can work some deals and can continue.
Oh, for sure. So
right?
So Jimmy and Jordy, they're both survivors. Like they're doing whatever they can and have to do to stay on the island.
I think Matt may go.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Playboy, you got an answer there?
I just know Jimmy would hate it, so that's all I'm going to go with.
Maybe he'd force himself out, yeah.
Oh, that's true. Ask Us, why does Flynn hate Hanny? Doesn't hate Hanny. He just hasn't been able to come on a certain Wednesdays because apparently My High is like a good product or something and it's taken off. And he did welcome his third child into the world. So
all great news.
Been a little bit busy, but we're seeing if we can get him here tomorrow. Let's see. Ask Hunt, do you think Brennan can be the best quarterback in the SEC this year?
I think Miles Brennan can have a great year. Do I think he can be the best QB in the SEC this year? Yes, I think that. Would I bet on that? No, but I think that he could be.
Ask Us, who's better at backpedaling, Stingley or a certain 104.5 host? Oh, I guess backpedaling like maybe something he said. I got you. I was thinking.
A little play on words there.
I was like, damn, does T-Bob got like a nice backpedal I don't know about? Because it's not me. Like the good Lord made me good at one thing, like 12-yard spurts and lowering my head and running over something. That's my trick. That's my party. And I got like hobbit hands.
I don't have any tricks.
Nothing?
No, I'm not. No.
Another statement. Disgusting defense, fire Gentry. Yeah, after this performance, it's that's definitely going to be on the table, I think. Hunt, you agree?
Yeah, I would think. I mean, you got to decide who you want to lead this ship because you've got the core that you're invested in, and if you don't think he's the guy, you got to make a change.
All right, this is for everyone in the room. Ask Us, can any of you dunk on a 10-foot goal?
Absolutely not. I could in high school, but I can't now.
I still can do the ugly, like it barely goes in, and I can kind of hang onto the rim just for a little bit, but it's ugly. Cade?
If style is not a factor, yeah. Yeah, I'm with you on that ugliness, but I can do it.
Okay, Playboy Marty?
I cannot, but I did throw an alley-oop in 8th grade.
That's the second time you've told that story.
It happened.
Okay,
it's on his Letterman's jacket.
Yeah. Oh, hunting his Letterman jacket. You still have your Letterman jacket, by the way?
I think it's in my bedroom in my parents' house, but I can't swear to that.
Okay. Ask Hunt, can you unplug the microphone before you leave?
No, I can't.
Let's see. Ask Hunt, did Evangel cheat when Hester was there?
Yes.
Oh, chill out. How do we cheat?
I cheated some way. You had football class.
You had to get ready for football.
That's cheating. We're trying to learn. We're trying to get book smart. Learn how to read good.
Oh, we got a little trash talk from Joey inside the Bayou Ford huddle. We were better at gymnastics. Also, Caddo and Baton Rouge High were the only schools in Louisiana to have full teams.
Dude, I'm not getting in a legitimate argument over Caddo Magnet High sports.
Well,
but it's getting a lot, probably the most airtime Magnet's gotten on 104.5.
Did you or did you not have the T-shirt that said Magnet High undefeated, Magnet High football undefeated since 1927?
I did own one in 8th grade that I wore
thought
every
you
now
might. I thought you might.
Thought it was funny back then.
Ooh. Ask Hunt, since Todd Walker was on the show, who's the best pure hitter in LSU baseball history?
Probably him. I mean, I think your answers are some combination of Todd Walker, Eddie Furness, Albert Bell, Alex Bregman.
Joey Bell when he was here.
Yeah.
318, 3-1 great.
I'd
a couple of those
probably
guys.
Go with Todd Walker.
A couple of those guys, 318, 3-1 great, by the way. Okay, Ask Us, since we've heard from Hester and every other 18 that's been on the show today, everyone outside of Hester, who should wear number 18 for LSU?
I don't have another option besides Jacoby Stevens.
Okay. Kate?
I'm going to go with what your choice is. I don't follow as closely in the details of the characters of some of these guys. So if you and Richard both endorse it, how can I not?
Okay. Playboy?
I think Jacoby's the obvious choice, but Chris Curry is my dark horse.
Would you like to see Tyler Shelvin in that jersey?
Oh, man, that'd be, yeah. Benny Logan looked good in that 1-8. I'll throw some dark horses out there. I think the Chris Curry one's a good one. Todd Harris is another, I think, good one because if you'll remember, the number 18 deal, you did have some guys who came back from injuries early on. And, of course, I've been a champion for Jacoby wearing the number as well. But I didn't even think about Miles wearing the jersey. It has not been on a quarterback since Matt Mock.
Well, what if Burrow would have wore it last year?
That'd have been pretty good.
But then you have to retire it.
That's true as well. Oh, that's a great point. But you don't have to be a quarterback to get your number retired, but that is a fair point that you make.
Miles has got the Flynn 15.
And let me tell you something. If Miles ditched 15 to wear 18, if you don't think I would be the most petty, annoying person in this world, you don't know me very well.
I think Flynn would start cheering for the other teams.
I think he would too. I truly think he would. All right, this has been a lot of fun. We appreciate y'all, as always, for tuning in. Again, Hanny's going to be out till Monday. So tomorrow we'll get a little bit of Richard Dixon. We're going to get some flestering as well. Hunt, we appreciate it, brother.
I'm going to go watch some golf, baby. Jason Day is taking the lead. Hopefully Hanny followed my advice and put a few bucks on him.
All right, before you log off, make sure to hit that little bell so you can subscribe to the Hangin' with Hester and Hanny page. Stay tuned for AFR coming up next year on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hangin' with Hester and Hanny.
Gulf Coast Bank